Hi, this is Stuart Bell, producer of The Dolans, wishing you a happy holiday season and a healthy new year. We go down to Hollywood, Florida. Hello there.
Hello, Bruce.
Hi.
I'm actually speaking with Bruce Williams.
I hope so. If you're not, man, I'm a fraud.
You know, Bruce, you know what I think?
What?
I think they ought to make you mandatory listening in every public school in this country.
Well, you're very kind, but why would you want to inflict me on kids?
Because then we would have fiscal responsibility in the next generation. They ought to make the Congress listen to you, too.
Well, you know, in all seriousness, it always amazes me that we spend so little time in our educational process on the very practical things in life, because after all, they are so pedestrian that it would be demeaning to study that kind of stuff. And we get into the esoteric, which I have no quarrel with, but when the fact that you can get through life without knowing who the Emperor Constantine was in the Byzantine Empire, I think, is indisputable. It is very difficult to get through life without knowing what a checkbook and a credit card is.
Well, they don't teach you what a checkbook is, and they don't teach you that other stuff either.
Exactly. Well, after all, because that would be some kind of a general curriculum for those kids who aren't going on to better. I don't understand that. Never will. Anyway, what's on your mind?
I'm calling for my parents.
Okay.
They wanted to put roll-down lock-in shutters on their balcony. It's a common brand name, but I'm not supposed to mention.
I know what you're talking about, though. The security deals where they're usually motorized, and they're good for not only security, but they also, if you have to be near the water someplace, they can be kind of half hurricane-proof.
Yeah.
Sure.
But they wanted to put a closet out there. They wanted to use it for closet space, the balcony.
A closet?
Yes.
On a balcony? On a line? on a balcony, a closet?
Yes.
You're kidding me.
No.
Why would you want to do that?
Because they don't have enough space.
So they want to eliminate the balcony and make it a closet?
Yes. Well, it isn't going to be just a closet. They're going to put some stand-up closets out there.
Well, wait a while. Is this in an apartment house or a condominium or whatever?
This is a townhouse. Yeah, a condominium.
Are they going to allow them to do this?
Well, they have a very, very, very loose association here. They have almost no rules.
Boy, I mean, it seems to me that would take away from the value dramatically.
Really?
Oh, absolutely.
Well, they can always. Well, they're not going to. It's not going to be permanent. They're just going to put stand-up closets out there, and I almost said the brand name. The shutters would close, and you can pull the whole thing out. You can pick the shutters up and yank the stand-up closets out of there.
If I were living in your parents' area, I would scream like a bear with a sore head.
Well, I can assure you at this condo association, they don't care about anything.
Well, good.
The place is getting very bad, by the way.
Well, that's what happens, you see, when you don't have some kind of rules. They just get bad.
Anyway.
All right, so you want to put down this shutter with closets on a kind of a armoire on the that's what it comes down to, right?
Anyway.
Isn't that what it is? Like kind of an armoire on the balcony.
Yeah, I guess so.
Oh, okay.
I'm not sure what an armoire is.
You ever stayed at an embassy suite?
No, I've never stayed at an embassy suite.
No, really, because they don't have closets.
They don't?
They have armoires in the bedroom, every one of them.
Oh.
What they are is they're like a stand-up...
like a bookcase, but it's a closet.
But it's big, yeah.
Yeah.
The idea, they had the original... You know how they had... You want to do a little history here?
Okay.
You know why they had those things?
Why?
As opposed to having closets in the old homes.
Why?
Because when they built the old... Now, we're talking 150 years ago or more, right?
Mm-hmm.
They used to tax the doors in the home.
Oh, yeah, you mentioned that before.
And so this way, if you put an armoire in the room, you could have the closet space, but you weren't taxed for it.
Yeah.
And now they're very trendy to have them. I don't care for them personally, but that's another program. But that's what you're talking about, really.
Yeah.
Some kind of an armoire on a balcony, and then you want to protect it by putting in one of these roller things, right?
Yes, yes. Anyway,
so they're making extra room out of the front of the balcony.
Yeah, sort of.
Okay, go ahead.
Anyway, I listened to your show.
Well, guess what?
What?
We just talked ourselves into a commercial break. You want to hang on for a second?
Okay.
All right, we'll go around the corner together. Never heard of making a closet out of a balcony before, but then I'm always learning. I'm Bruce Williams. This is Talknet. I'm chatting young fellow in Hollywood, Florida. His parents want to turn the balcony into a major closet. the kind of a caricature pops to mind. But go ahead. So what's the problem with this scenario?
Well, I listen to your show, but they don't, so they paid by check instead of credit card.
Okay.
The price was about $1,700. They paid...
This is for the shutter?
For the whole thing, yeah, for manufacturing the shutter and installing it.
Okay.
They paid $748 up front before anything was done, before the shutters were cut in the manufacturing place.
All right.
The contract stated that delivery was to be in 15 days. It took them 2.5 months. But when they
what else is new, huh?
Yeah. When they came, my father accepted the delivery. When they put it up, he let them put it up anyway. When they put it up, the workman, after he was finished, happened to mention, and we could see that it wasn't right, but he happened to mention that water would come in, which is exactly what we didn't want. When we talked to the salesperson, or when they talked to the salesperson, he said that the shutters would lock in. Be
waterproof?
It wouldn't be. It'd be 99% waterproof. This thing, clearly, the way they installed it is not 99% waterproof. Water would not come in when it rains.
Yeah, aren't those things, by and large, designed to keep intruders out as opposed to keeping weather out? They're designed to go over existing windows, aren't they?
Yeah, I guess so. But the salesman told us that this would work for our purposes.
And apparently it is not, huh?
No. The workman said, oh, this is a mistake. Our purchase order doesn't indicate that. We just installed it, so you could roll it down during a hurricane.
Yeah.
And water will come in. They said, well, that's not, my parents said, well, that's not what we ordered. So until this is taken care of, we're not going to pay you the remaining $1,000.
That seems not unreasonable.
And, well, this is where it gets a little sticky. They say, at first time the workman told us this, he told us that they were cut wrong in the manufacturing place, and that the only way to correct it would be to yank them out and put in different ones. But now, when he came back later, he was singing a different tune. He says, we can patch it up and it'll work.
Yeah.
And my father doesn't want that. But he also wants my father now says he just wants the $748 back, but unfortunately paid with check.
Yeah, they're not going to do that. I think they probably...
What should my father do?
Well, I think they probably have a right to try to correct the problem.
But before they said the only way to do it was by replacing the whole thing, and now they say we don't have to replace the whole thing.
But the only way to demonstrate that is to let them try.
Let them try.
And if it's waterproof, what do you care? And if it's satisfactory cosmetically and all the rest of it. And if it's not, then you don't pay.
The part of the problem was at first my father, he doesn't listen to your show. He just wanted to do nothing. Just let it ride.
You ignore the problem, it's not going to go away.
I told him they're going to mess up his credit and they're going to turn it over to a collection agency.
Well, aside from that, it's just the problem is not going to, and that doesn't accomplish anything because now he's got the shutter that's unsatisfactory.
Yeah.
So it's not doing what he wanted it to do to begin with, so that doesn't help very
Should
much.
he mail them a letter or something? I told him he should notify them in writing that he wants a refund.
Well, if that's what he wants, fine. He can start with that. With a very brief, but it's redundancy, a succinct recitation of the facts. I came to your place, I explained this is what I wanted, the salesman said this would do the job. Now I find out that this is not going to do the job. Now your alternatives are to take your shutter and give my money back and we'll still be friends, or alternatively, replace it with a shutter that will do what your representative represented, or make whatever modifications that are necessary to accomplish this that are satisfactory to me.
Yeah, well, that's the problem. My father doesn't want to let them try to do that.
Well, I think that's too bad for the old man. I don't think he has any choice.
Okay.
And they have a right to try to make themselves whole. That's like the guy, that gets a new car and there's something wrong. I want a new car. Well, they don't have to give you a new car. They have an obligation to try to repair it properly. They can't, then maybe you get a new car. But you just can't get a new car because there's something wrong with the one you got.
Okay.
I think he's in the same barge.
Well, I don't know if he'll listen to me.
Well, he doesn't have to listen to you and let him go out and suffer by himself. That's what parents are all about and kids are all about. I'm serious when I say that. You're being a nice guy, you're trying to help your dad out. But if he doesn't want to listen, man, you don't have any responsibility for that. Let him go. If he wants to go out and make a mistake, he's a big boy, isn't he?
Yeah.
Well, let him go make the mistake. It's as simple as that. But I think you're going to find he's going to have to give them at least a shot at making this thing whole.
So basically, he has to at least let them try to.
I don't see any way around it.
Okay.
Good luck, kid.
Thank you.
I'm Bruce Williams. Stick around. This is Talknet. We go now to Hillside, New Jersey. Hello there.
Hello, Mr. Williams.
Hi.
I have a frequent flyer certificate that I must redeem within 9 days.
9 days? What does this certificate give you?
Gives me 2 free tickets to a destination of my choice in Europe.
And you got to use it has an expiration date on it?
Well, I must convert it into 2 tickets, and those tickets will then be good for a full year from the date that I redeem them.
How'd you come by this?
From my frequent flying.
Why did you get a certificate for this?
Well, what happens is that you get an award certificate, you cash it in. I was told that I must turn around and cash it in because they were changing the program.
Oh, they're changing their system and old miles and new miles, the rest of it?
Right, so it was advantageous for me to turn around and ask for the award certificate. Now,
okay, so go get your tickets.
Well, the problem is that, of course, I would want one ticket in my name. Problem occurs with who should I put the other name in. I was going to go with someone, and that has changed. So now, that being the case,
you got to find a new girlfriend, huh?
That's correct.
All right.
Which
it's a happy problem, I suppose.
Yes, within the year, but not within 9 days.
All right. What are you asking me?
The question is that how do you think it would be best to try to?
Can the name be changed at some future date?
They tell me no. They tell me that it has to go in a particular person's name, and the destination is already set. You can fiddle with the time, the days. You can say I'm going to go.
But you can't fiddle with a companion, huh?
No, they say you can set any date and then change.
No, I understand what you're saying.
Okay.
See, the problem, if this was domestic, it wouldn't be a problem.
That's right. But with passports, it is.
Exactly so.
Now, I was thinking, and I don't think it's maybe such a good idea, is that...
Mrs.
Yes.
Well, of course your passport's in their maiden name because women have a right to retain their maiden name.
So I'd have to still use a first name, though.
Mrs. John Jones won't do, huh?
No, so they got to use a first and last name. So I could have it as such and such, my last name.
Well, this is her stage name. Well, I wonder how far you get with that argument, you know?
Yeah, since you're a frequent flyer and know the airlines quite well, I thought maybe you could have some...
Yeah, internationally, though, you see, domestically it's not a problem, as you know.
That's right.
But internationally, they do require, you got to lay a passport. Well, it's got to be Europe, you said. You got to take this to go to Europe, right?
Yeah, quite a few selections of cities.
But it has to be Europe.
Yes.
What airline is this with?
Well, it's U.S. Air, and you fly British Airways.
And you couldn't choose some domestic location, or you want to go to Europe?
Well, I would prefer to go to Europe. I mean, there's no comparison. You're going to go into California with going to. I want to go to Vienna, and then it allows me to even pick another city so I could go.
Well, the other answer is to get a girlfriend in the next 9 days.
Well,
I'm kidding. I don't know what to tell you. I really don't. I can't imagine why you couldn't have it issued in Mr. and Mrs. and then have it changed to a different name, but maybe not. I mean, I don't know that. I mean, I don't know that program that well. I wish I don't know. I would call them and explain the problem and see what they have to say.
Well, of course, they're not going to be too obliging because of the fact that the program is over with. They want to just take care of their obligations on these.
I don't think that's true. I found most of these guys to be pretty accommodating because let's face it, the program is succeeding. As long as it succeeds, the people in that job are going to continue to have a job. The frequent flyer programs have very definitely developed loyalty to brands for the reason you went out of your way to fly U.S. Air, I'm sure, to get this award.
That's right.
Absolutely. I don't think I would suspect that I would call the award center and discuss the problem, see if they can suggest an answer to the problem.
Okay.
I mean, there are single people still left in the world.
Yeah, and I would think that they would want to try to,
well, that's why I said
keep your loyalty.
Have you called them and explained the problem?
I explained and asked it that did it have to be absolutely
No,
your name?
that wasn't what I said. You explained the specific problem, why you got a problem.
No, I didn't.
Well, that's what I would do. And say, how can we get around this? See what they have to say.
If they say we can't leave it as an open second, it has to be.
Then you go to California. Better than blowing them away completely.
Uh-huh. Do you think trying to put it in, let's say, my ex-wife's name and have somebody try to fly?
Well, that's why I said you can always. In today's, we were going full circle here. In today's world, with women maintain their own names and so on and so forth, I don't think anybody's going to raise an eyebrow. This is my stage name, you know.
Do you think that would be?
Let's face it, I've got women on my payroll that are still using their, quote, maiden name from 4 years ago. I know they're married. Doesn't matter to me how I make the paychecks out. It's up to them to determine that, right? Mm-hmm. So it's not unusual for women to have different names. I don't think they'll make a big fuss over that. But that's a crapshoot you got to take.
All right.
I do wish you well, kid.
Thank you.
But I'd call them and pose the problem to them and see what they have to say.
All right.
I'm Bruce Wiggins. Stick around. This is Talknet.
Hi, this is Kevin Bristow, Talknet producer. My best to you this holiday season.
We go down to Louisville, Colorado. Your turn on Talknet. Hello.
Yeah, I'm a first-time caller. I've been listening to you for about, I think it was 11 years, if that's possible.
Well, about 10 anyway.
About 10 anyway. All
yes,
right.
sir.
A long time anyway. Anyway, I'm looking to help my sister buy her first home, and she's looking at a home that's about 76.9. It's got an FHA non-qualifying loan. And what
how much?
Excuse me?
How much is the outstanding mortgage, the non-qualifying?
It's got $63,700.
Okay, 64 round numbers.
Sure.
So there's another 15 grand floating around somewhere.
Sure, it's 8 years old, and that's the equity that guy's got in it that's selling it.
All right.
Anyway, he's making $800 a month payments right now on it because he's got a kind of a high interest rate.
What's the interest rate?
I think it's 12.5%.
That's no bargain today, right?
Right, and the realtor tells me that after you've lived in the home for 6 months, that you can renegotiate the interest rate.
Not necessarily.
On an FHA.
I don't know that to be true.
Oh, you don't know that?
No, sir.
All right. Well, be that as
you can renegotiate, but that doesn't mean they got to grant the mortgage.
Okay. There's nothing, no provision.
There's no provision that's ironclad that I'm aware of.
Okay, but you can renegotiate at current rates if you take over an FHA.
None that I know of, and you say current rate. Current rate is whatever they determine it is.
Okay. All right.
I mean, it's like, what's the current rate on a pound of potatoes? Whatever the storekeeper decides the current rate is.
Okay. That's right, because it's not the government that's lending you the
That's exactly
money,
so.
It's the financial institution.
Exactly
okay.
so. Now, let's start at the very beginning of this thing. You mentioned you want to help your sister out.
Mm-hmm.
What's her situation?
What's her situation?
Yeah, I mean, why does she need help?
Well, I'm just helping her negotiate and things like
how much?
that.
Well, let's start at the very beginning then. How much does she earn a year?
Well, she earns $19,000 a year right now.
That's it?
That's it.
She's married, single, what?
She's single.
Well, there's no way in the world she can afford that house.
Well,
it's way over her head.
Sure. What I was thinking of doing, and maybe you can tell me if I'm way off base, or what she was thinking of doing, is taking over the payments for the FHA loan, and then getting a single payment loan from the seller. It's agreeable to that for the difference.
No. She's way over her head, dear.
She's way over her head.
Think about this. Right now, the payments are $800 a month.
Right.
She's not going to refinance it because nobody in their right mind would loan her any money.
Sure.
Now, I don't mean that there's anything wrong with her, but not the kind of money that's demanded here.
Okay.
All right? And I take it she has no money to put down.
Not very much.
Little. All right. So now we're talking about $9,600 a year in just straight payments.
Right.
Now, we haven't figured in utilities, which could be a little drafty in Colorado and so forth, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's going to cost her something like, round numbers, $12,000 a year to live in this house.
Right. Well, she was planning. It's a 3-bedroom house, and she was planning on renting out 2 of the rooms.
What happens if she can't find renters?
That is the risk.
Forget it. She's way 12,000. She's only taking home maybe 15.
Okay.
She's going to live on $50 a week for the rest of it?
Yeah. Well, she'd be able to depreciate 2/3 of the house too. Of course, she's not a real high income
please.
tax bracket.
It's the first. She also gets a certain amount of tax relief.
Let me tell you what I figured. Suppose I could find a lower interest rate.
Wouldn't matter.
Lowering the payments.
Wouldn't matter. The house is 4 times her income.
Well, let me just explain something real quick.
Go ahead.
I figured that after about 5 years after she got into the house, she'd probably have about $57,700 left on the loan, on the FHA loan.
But she's not going to. Go ahead.
Okay.
Tell her where's the money coming to make these payments for? Make a bad situation worse. Do you have any documentation for anything you told me?
As far as what do you mean, sir?
To prove what you're telling me. You're telling me the bank is doing something. Do you have anything from the bank to show me this? To show anybody? Anything in writing?
Yeah, I have a letter.
That's it? What else do you have besides one letter?
Oh, that's all just from what my father told me.
But your father is not playing it straight with you. I would urge you to hire an attorney. Have your attorney go see your old man and lay it on a line to him that you're screwing your kid. I mean, your father's not a very responsible person, apparently. Or he's a very proud person, one or the other, and he doesn't want to tell you that things are going to hell. But they're only going to get worse. So do yourself a kindness, get an attorney, have him go down and see your dad. Hopefully your father's preserved some of this correspondence. And maybe there's something we can salvage, maybe not. Your dad's still making payments, so apparently the house is still in your name. It'd be easy to find out. Go down to the courthouse and see if there's been a foreclosure. But you're not capable of doing that, are you? I don't blame you. Neither would I. That's why we need an expert. So tomorrow morning, if you have an ounce of, you're going to hire yourself an attorney.
Okay.
It doesn't have to be Clarence Darrow either. This is not that complex a job. I wish you well, kid.
Well, thank you, Bruce.
Hey, Alicia, your heart's in the right place. You're trying to help the old man out. It's unfortunate that he didn't handle things as well as he could. I don't criticize him for losing his job and getting behind. Those things happen. But what I would criticize him for is not having the ability to say, hey, son, we got a problem here. Not let you say, it's not like your teeth. That's the one thing that goes away if you ignore them. But problems of this kind don't go away, they get worse.
Right.
And he didn't act too maturely in this, so it's up to you to act as maturely as possible. And the first thing is get some professional help. Good luck, my friend.
Thank you, Bruce.
I'm Bruce Williams. Stick around for more. This is Talknet.
West PD is Toledo's news station.
Guernsville, California. Hello there. Welcome to Talknet.
Hi, Bruce.
Hi.
I'm just calling in reference to, I have a couple patents I've invented and got them on the market.
We say a couple patents. You mean you have a couple of inventions that have been patented?
They've been patented, right.
All right.
And I got them on the market. I have no problem with those. One of them is a chair that's used for evacuating handicapped people out of office buildings or patients out of hospitals.
Hold it. Let's back up. You mean evacuating? I mean,
in case of an emergency evacuation.
Well, I mean, other than just going down the stairs in a wheelchair or something?
Well, you should not ever carry a wheelchair downstairs. It's very difficult to do. And
well, how does one do it?
Well, if they have to, they do it, but they shouldn't do it because it's difficult and it's hard and it's dangerous because the wheelchair is not built to be carried. My chair is designed to be carried up and down stairs.
All right.
And it's being used by major corporations across the country.
Mm-hmm.
And the other chair I have is the one that's used, if you watch football games, it's used to remove injured football players off the football field.
Yeah.
And those two are on the market and very successful. I have no problem with those.
All right.
When we put our contract together, I assigned the patents to somebody to manufacture and market.
Mm-hmm.
We just understood that it would be for the life of the product, and there was no discussion about that, and that's in the contract.
Well, you say there's no discussion. I understand.
Well, what I'm saying is, at the time the contract was put together, it was just understood that the royalties would run for as long as these people manufactured and marketed the product.
Mm-hmm.
I'm coming out with another product now, and my patent attorney is gone right now, and we were in conversation yesterday in reference to this new product for another company, and the question came up as to how long they were going to pay me royalties on the product.
Yeah.
So my question to you is, in your history with patents and inventions, is there a normal within the industry as to how long royalties?
As long as you can negotiate.
As long as you can negotiate.
Certainly.
Okay.
And that means in your case forever.
Well, that's the way I feel about it. And I was just kind of finding out if there was anything normal in the industry that I didn't know about. I just always assumed, like you say, as long as you can get it.
Absolutely.
Yeah, okay.
Hey, good luck. I hope to make it ton.
Well, we're working on them.
All righty. Tomorrow, that's Wednesday, December the 6th, one day before the infamy day, December 7th. We'll be taking your calls off the air, 2 to 6 Eastern Standard Time. We'll be laying those calls on tape for broadcast at a future date. So if you'd be so kind, you give me a shout at 800 Talknet, men are now, 2 to 6 Eastern Standard Time. That's tomorrow, Wednesday. Milwaukee, hello there.
Hello there. Bruce, I have a situation. I, about 4 years ago, got into the automobile business.
Mm-hmm.
And ended up being a business manager for a dealership that had 5 dealerships in the city.
Uh-huh.
And absolutely loved it. It's like they drained my blood and they put in their blood, and I absolutely was married to the business. And however, since I didn't know the business, I didn't know what they were paying me was nothing. And this past spring, I had another dealership come to me. They started in March, and they wanted to hire me. And I turned them down. They came back in April. I turned them down. They came back in May.
They're persistent.
And I went from a $22,000 a year job to a $45,000 a year job.
In one jump?
In one jump.
What?
And they pay me very well. The hours are great compared to what I used to work, but I hate the job.
Well, for an extra $23,000 a year, can you afford to hate it?
No, I can't.
Well,
I don't like it at all. I'm terribly bored. I don't have the amount of work that I did before.
You have less work and more pay.
And less hours.
There's a whole bunch of people out there saying, this boy has a fever.
Yes, I know that. And when I left the previous dealership, and I'm sure you know in the automobile business, when you leave a dealership for another dealership of the same manufacturer, usually it's left with bad taste. And I could go back, but not at what I'm making now. And I was wondering how you find somebody like a headhunter.
Well, first of all, rather than looking for somebody else to go to work for, why don't you talk to the folks let me go the other way here. What is your chief complaint?
Lack of work.
Well, what is lack of work? What do you mean lack of work? Just you're sitting around twiddling your thumbs? That's
right. I just played 22 sets of solitaire.
Well, I do that every night here.
But you're working.
You don't believe that, do you? Those are the cards. Well, have you had a chat with the guys who are paying and say, hey, and I wouldn't walk in and say, hey, fellas, I'm not doing any work. You'll always find yourself history in a rush.
That's right.
But there's nothing wrong with walking in and saying, hey, there are times when I have a little extra time on my hands.
I do that all the time.
And?
Well, we'll get you something to do.
Why don't you
think
of a hobby? I'm serious. I'm deadly serious. I mean, you're not in a bit. There must be something. Didn't you ever want to write a book?
That's true, I have.
Well, then why don't you write the book? I mean, take a course.
Well, I'm finding, there are certain hours that I've got to be here, and there's nothing
I understand that, but there's no reason why you couldn't do the homework when you're at work. How old are you?
34.
You ever want to be a lawyer?
No, I never wanted to.
You go to law school and study on the boss's time. What a great deal.
That's true.
What I'm getting to is I think you'd be very foolish to blow this for the reasons you described.
Mm-hmm. Well, I want to stay in the business because I love the business. I just don't like the dealership I'm at.
But just because there's a lack of work.
Yeah,
I'm
a person who has to work.
That's it.
Yeah.
Well, then there's something wrong with your personality. I'm serious. It's hard for me to believe that you can't find something to do with your time that's practical, either for the concern or for yourself.
I have desperately tried now for 6 months.
For yourself?
Well, see, for me, doing something for myself is doing something in this business.
Well, fine. All right. Now let's get real here. We got a few seconds remaining. All right. What is your background? Educational.
I was a school teacher.
All right. You have at least a baccalaureate. You have a master's?
No.
Why don't you get yourself a master's in business so you can be more valuable to your employers?
I could do that.
Well, why don't you? And it's certainly going to benefit you.
Mm-hmm.
You're picking up that degree, and you can do a heck of a lot. You should be able to be a 4.0 student.
That's right.
Because you have so much time at work that you can study, and you'll look like you're working, and you can justify that in your own mind because you'll be better at what you do than you would have been had you not pursued the degree program.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Why don't you take a look around in the business and see if there are things you could be doing? There was an old film. I think it was Billie Holiday, The Solid Gold Cadillac.
Mm-hmm.
Do you know the film I'm talking about?
Mm-hmm.
Well, review that film, and they put her in a position where she had nothing to do. And suddenly she found lots of things to do.
Mm-hmm.
It's hard for me to believe in an intelligent man, you're clearly intelligent, that you can't find things that are worthwhile to do in that time. It's a problem that 99% of us would love to have, me included.
Well, once you get to that point, then you wouldn't like having it.
No, because I guarantee you I will find things to do with my time. I promise you there are things I can do. I mean, I can do them on airplanes and the doggone places. I can't believe you're not as bright as I, because I'm sure you are.
Well,
I'm sorry? What? That was quick. This is Talknet.
WSBD.
Off we go to Mesquite, Texas. Hello there. Welcome to Talknet.
Thank you, Bruce. How are you this evening?
I'm just fine, thanks.
Well, good. I'm calling kind of on the behalf of a group of homeowners out here, a very loose-knit, just neighbors talking back and forth across the street.
Loose-knit, huh?
Yes, sir. We all live in a subdivision that when the developer put the subdivision up, put concrete tile roofs on about half the houses. As a selling point, because they're guaranteed 50 years, et cetera, et cetera.
Kind of like a Spanish mission type style, the little curved job.
Right. Yeah. They make it look like that, but it's instead of being made out of the tile like they do down in Spain, it's a formed concrete.
Yes, I understand.
Painted.
That's supposed to last forever.
Right.
But they don't.
Well,
at least they pick up. Never mind. Go ahead. I can see little strange things growing on them.
Yeah, that sort of stuff. But our problem as a group and as a group of individuals is that the tile was applied improperly, put on wrong from the very start. It looks that way to us, and one of our group has had a roofing company come by to look at the roof to see what's wrong. And he said it was applied incorrectly also.
When you say applied?
Put on. The tile.
Installed, maybe.
Installed, right. Installed. Very good. Installed improperly.
Okay.
Do we, or would we as a group, have a leg to stand on to try to go after this builder, this developer?
How long ago was this?
The houses were built in 83, 84.
I doubt it, sir.
Okay.
No, it doesn't mean you shouldn't collectively throw a few pennies into the pot and hire an attorney to see what he thinks about what statutory period. And you may walk in a couple guys that say forget about it before. Somebody else may say, yeah, I think you got a shot.
Would it have any bearing on the fact that another group of homeowners in the same subdivision with the same just received a settlement on shoddy plumbing from the same developer?
Very possibly would. Bearing it, that would indicate that at least in some instances there's a responsibility for this far in advance. I don't know.
Okay. What kind of information will we need to get together as a group to just go to an attorney? And do you think somebody would be able to go on contingency on this, or is it always a fee in advance, or what's the standard there, do you think?
Well, I think you're going to have to pay the guy to come in. Well, wait a minute. Not even that, though. First of all, a couple of you ought to be a committee. And it should be an appointed committee as contrasted with, what I'm trying to avoid is you being accused of choosing an attorney of somebody you're tied in with and so on and so forth. You guys ought to have coffee and sit down and say, okay, why don't we have a couple of people approach an attorney or two in the area and see if they would like to come talk to us. And in the event that we are persuaded that this individual is one that we want to hire, then we each agree to throw in. How many people are we talking about here?
In the whole subdivision, if we could get everybody to participate, there would probably be around 50.
Well, the chances of getting everybody to participate are about the same as getting the sun to come up in the south.
Okay.
I mean, I think 25 might be a more realistic number.
Okay.
If you get 25 people to throw $100 into the kitty, at least you get $2,500 to begin with, which is going to buy you, a fair amount of information.
Okay.
For a class suit. Hey, maybe you just throw $100 away. I don't know. Let me ask this of you: what would it take in dollars? I'm trying to see what your damages look like.
Okay.
What would it take in dollars to put the thing right?
one guy that had somebody look at the entire roof received a quote of $8,000 3 years ago because they just got to strip the thing off and go from scratch again.
Well, then you're talking about enough money to be worth going after.
Yeah.
And then the other side of that is, does the developer have assets that can be reached? You know, he may say, oh, he's a real wealthy guy. Yeah, but it may be a different corporation.
Okay. I think it's still the same corporation. They are no longer in this particular area. They've moved to another state, but they...
Well, I would suggest to you the chances of it's not the same corp.
Okay.
It'd be crazy if it is.
They are still operating under the same...
Could be the same name, but you dissolve one corporation and you pick up the same trade style.
Okay. I guess that's something that the attorney will have to...
We'll have to investigate. If they are... Well, I don't know. Maybe I spoke too soon. If I were in your position, I'd have dissolved the one. And put that behind me, but that's another story.
Okay.
I think that's the way you ought to pursue this thing, though. And look, see, guys, also $100 for $8,000 or some fraction of that. Isn't it worth a $100 shot?
Oh yeah.
Well, I hope we can persuade at least 20, 25 other people the same.
All right, sir.
Good luck, kid.
Appreciate your information.
I'm Bruce Williams. Stick around. This was Talknet. Tomorrow, as is our usual custom on a Wednesday, 2 to 6, we'll be taking your calls off the air, laying them down on tape for broadcast at a future date. That's Wednesday, December the 6th, 2 to 6 in the evening. Before we continue on, there are certain things in your life that have a rather profound effect upon your life. You know, things that you do or things that are done to you or whatever that alter the course of your life. And so it was for me 7 years ago today. 7 years, it hardly seems possible. 7 years ago today at 3:32 in the afternoon that I whacked my airplane into a tree. And it really turned my life around. And all of the things that happened, I don't know that are necessary to get into, but I was very, very fortunate to be alive, and I owe a great debt of thanks to certainly the physicians who put me back together again. All of you guys. I mean, at that time, we only had 110 stations and over 30,000 cards came in. And most of all to my family, who was put through a great deal for my foolishness. And I hope they understand that I thank them and I love them. Rochester, Minnesota. Hello there. Welcome to Talknet.
Hi, my question is that I'm a student teacher, and I've developed quite an extensive activity program for like timeout activities for the students.
What do you mean timeout activities?
In the spare time, that time in between while they're doing homework, and some kids get done soon, some kids get done in overnight.
Yeah.
But the ones that get done first and during those free times that the student has in between activities, I've tried to come up with something to fill their time, but educational as well.
Mm-hmm.
And I had to talk to my supervisor, and everything went well that way. But the problem is that I've had to talk to the administration, and the administration likes the idea, and I had to write up a letter telling them what this program was all about, how I was going to do it.
Mm-hmm.
They really like the idea, and what I'm concerned about is how can I protect myself with this activity program that I've developed?
You can't.
Okay.
Can't do that.
So in other
words, cannot. I mean, I can't imagine that you've done something so terribly unique that nobody else ever done it before. Or maybe that's being a bit cynical on my part, but I think my cynicism is deserved.
Probably.
Now, but that's not a big thing. Now, if you develop a program, something that they can do, and materials are necessary, there's enough. Now, you can copyright those materials. You understand?
Yeah.
Like, suppose for the sake of discussion, you got some little game the kid is playing. It doesn't have to be that.
Mm-hmm.
Well, you can copyright that particular game, but there's nothing to prevent me from following the same kind of program with a different kind of game.
Mm-hmm.
The fact that you can copyright, Trivial Pursuit, I'm sure, is copyrighted, but you can't copyright the asking questions about trivia.
Right.
Maybe the specific question, who's the first president of the United States? There's not much you can do about that. That's right. But if you put a game together that had a 75 or 80% similarity, well, that would kind of have an odor, wouldn't it?
Right. Okay.
So if you can, I'm sure, come up with some kind of a kit. That's where the money is.
That's what this is. It's not just a collection of questions
and stuff that gets thrown away and gets used again.
Excuse me?
Well, the trick is to have stuff that gets thrown away.
Mm-hmm.
Do you understand?
Okay.
No, I don't think you do. Explain it to me if you understand, Teach.
Well,
explain what I just said.
Like coming up with something that when they use it, it's no longer usable.
Exactly. You got to buy more stuff.
Dispose of.
Why do you think workbooks have tear-out pages? So you can't sell the book at the end of the semester, right? Of course. So, but there's nothing to prevent somebody from replicating something very similar to yours. They cannot photocopy it because you're going to copyright it for $10.
Now, how do you do that?
Call the Library of Congress and they'll send you a form.
Bingo. Okay.
$10.
I wanted to know.
$10 bill. I'll get you a spring for that, right?
Well, even yes, as a student teacher, I'm supposed to do that.
I think so.
Well, I thank you very much.
Okay, good. So what are you teaching? What level?
I'm teaching 5th grade.
Oh.
And that's actually the age that I'd like to teach. 5th, 6th, 4th, in that order.
I think I did my first year of student teaching at 6th grade.
Fun, isn't it?
I think it was 6th grade. Yeah. Well, particularly the school I was in, it was in what one laughingly might call a combat zone. One of my first, I'm a veteran. See, when I'm doing this whole thing, right? And I put my time in the military. I'm back in college or whatever. And I'm a fairly good-sized guy. I walk into the classroom. I remember the teacher's name. First name was Bert. We won't embarrass him. He must be retired by this time. He's a young guy, but this is some years ago. But in any event, he said, well, here's your class, kid. Enjoy yourself. That was 2 months later. He came back, which is not exactly the way it's supposed to work. See?
I've been lucky enough that I have good support people.
So I was happy that way. I was fine with me. It was my class, and away we go, right? And we're about a day into the thing, and one of the first things one of the kids asked me is, Mr. Williams, this is my 6th grade, baby. How do I know if I'm pregnant? Now, what was your answer, babe?
Probably send them to the resource personnel.
See the nurse. You got it, kid. That's exactly right. Hey, I'm taking you right down to see the nurse. I wish you well, my friend.
Thank you.
Yeah, that was a whole different. That was a different proposition altogether. I got to tell you, it was a learning experience. Greenbelt, Maryland. Hello.
Hello.
How you doing, honey?
Okay. I'm interested in finding out. My company has bootleg software.
Ooh, do they sell it or they use it?
Well, no, they use it. They buy one copy and
they replicate it.
Right. Well, I'm the one who has to do that.
You're the copyright stealer, huh?
Right, the keeper of the software.
That's illegal.
And I'm just wondering, and I brought it up that I think we should purchase copies for everyone.
Perish the thought, huh?
Right, but I'm just wondering if they were ever caught, what could happen to me since this is like my only alternative. They won't let me purchase more of the same one.
Well, I don't know just what I can tell you. What they are asking you to do is illegal, and we both know that.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, they're asking you to break the law.
Right.
More than I tell you.
So, yeah.
If you want to do that, that's your.
Mm-hmm.
It's up to you. Now, you're not the first.
I love my job, but I hate that part of it.
That's another problem. Let's face it, this has been going on in other areas for a million years. People have been going back to the days of the old mimeograph machine, where they this last caller with this young fellow has an idea. Do you think people haven't stolen ideas and long before photocopy machines were as ubiquitous as they are today?
Right.
People would have the mimeograph machine type it up and replicate somebody else's work. And going back into the 30s and the 20s, people did it with song sheets, all of which is illegal. It's improper. And maybe as important, it's immoral.
Right, that's what gets me.
The same guys are doing it and people go out and buy blank cassette tapes. And then or I don't know if you can do it with CDs yet or not, I don't know that, but certainly you can do it with cassettes. And one person buys a tape and they copy it for 10 friends.
Oh.
But you know about that. That's wrong, too. This is morally bankrupt because you're stealing. And the same guy, if you told him he's a thief, he'd be, he's talking about if I walked into a store and then somebody gave me an extra $1, I'd give them their $1 back.
Yeah, I mean, nobody there thinks it's a big deal except for me, but I'm the one who has to do it.
Well, but you are showing a degree of morality that your employers don't exhibit because they're thieves.
Well,
whether you want to participate is a tough call. It really is a tough call. Because, as you say, you love your job, and something like this could gets fired.
Right. Well, I guess I'll have to keep trying to get them to buy more.
It's a tough call, isn't it?
All right.
It's nice to know there's an honest person out there, though. I wish you well.
Thank you.
I'm Bruce Williams. Yeah, that is a tough call. And I know we've all stolen, we've all broken laws, we've all done those things. But it's still a tough call. This is Talknet. Redding, California. Hello there.
Hello, Bruce.
Hi.
First-time caller. I heard you mention the other day that you used to be in the rental car business, and that
You bet.
sparked me to call you.
What's up?
I've been renting cars for years, and I travel an awful lot. I was down in Los Angeles the other day, and went through the book and called one up.
Because the credit, she's wrong. In terms of the credit card, the credit company, they'll put her in there as a 9, which is the worst you can be. Mm-hmm. And until it's resolved, it's wrong. But really, you want to let them take the next step. And I told you what I would do. Now, if you want to write a check for the $1,400 and have your daughter pay it back, that's okay too.
Well, I mean, no. So she should continue to paying this.
Pay what she actually owes, the $30.
Oh, I see. Well, that will affect her credit then, won't it?
How many ways can I tell you? She's going to be marked lousy until this gets resolved.
What if it never gets resolved?
If it never gets resolved, then she's going to have that on there for 7 years.
Oh, my.
Oh, my.
Okay.
I would notify them I'm putting this matter into contest. I am not paying for the following reasons. Mm-hmm. They at least have to get your attention then. You just don't spend $30 and ignore it.
Do you think it would help her to have an attorney write a letter?
Do you have a lawyer that's on your pad anyway?
No, not at the present time.
Well, I mean, somebody gives you a letter for nothing or for very little money?
Well, possibly.
In that case, yeah, it wouldn't hurt. You can't do any harm.
Okay.
Frustrating being a parent, huh, baby?
Yes, it is.
But listen, you've done stupid things. Your daughter is just like you and like me. We all do them.
Thanks, Bruce.
I do wish you well, dear.
Thanks. Bye.
I'm Bruce Williams. Stick around. This is Talknet. So much for waiting. What's doing?
Oh, everything's fine, Bruce.
Good.
Getting over Hurricane Hugh going on.
Okay. Nothing like a hurricane to liven things up. Yeah, what's on your mind?
There you go. Well, what I have in mind is this. I'm 47, and my mother is 71, in reasonably good health, and living in another state, and I'm the sole heir, and I'd say probably conservatively her estate is somewhere around $400,000.
Mm-hmm.
And I just wanted to find out the pros and cons. A friend of mine was telling me the other day, he said, have you ever heard anything about joint tenants but not tenants in common? I said, no, not really. He said, well, call Bruce Williams. He knows about everything. So
what are you trying to accomplish?
Basically, what I was wondering is if we did have this agreement, what would be the good things of the pros and cons?
Well, how old is your mom?
71.
I'm sorry, you told me that before. I apologize. What kind of health is she in?
Reasonably good health.
The reason that people start to transfer assets from there's two reasons. One, to avoid some taxes, and that requires a lot of trust on the part of your mother. And the second is to bring the assets down so that if the older person has to get a good deal of nursing home or other intensive care, that the estate isn't exhausted in no time. Having said that, there are a bunch of ways to accomplish that with the kind of money you're talking about. I'm not sure the tax laws from parent to child. If it was husband to wife, you have nothing to worry about, or wife to husband. And then I think about up to $600,000, the federal taxes are relatively modest, if at all. I think it's $600,000.
There's an article in Money Magazine.
I think it's $600,000. Is it something like that?
Yeah, as a matter of fact, the state she lives in, the taxes in that state are zero.
How about your state?
My state down here, it's $33,000 up to $600,000.
Okay. So you got a modest tax impact.
Yes.
If you want to probably the way to go about this, if you're concerned about the things I described, some kind of a trust fund.
I think. But it's something that, the way he was leading me to believe is it's something you have to have.
No, it's not true.
Okay.
It simply is not true.
Okay.
You can, for example, title a home in joint tenancy with a right to survivorship. So at the instant of one person's death, the home belongs to the other person.
Yeah.
But that doesn't obviate any taxes because you got to get that title into the guy's name somehow.
Now, what if, like, say, she were to get into bad health, say if she were incapacitated?
Well, you got to do it beforehand. You got to do it years before.
Yeah, I'd have to have a way to get to, like, say, she needed some of the money.
Well, that's why these things are done, where they put the money. You know, a lot of elderly people put their assets in joint accounts with both names on it. And my mom did that. Okay, with me. And not because I wanted to get her money, but little money there was. The idea was that somebody had to be able to get at it in the event of her being incapacitated. But her Social Security number remained on the account, and that's how it was taxed. And I think the Internal Revenue Service is cognizant of the fact that a lot of folks do what I've described for the reasons that I've described. Not trying to beat anybody.
Right.
Now, you get some big numbers like you're talking about, they may take another point of view, and I'd want to run that past an accountant. Because your tax situation may be demonstrably different from your mom's.
Yeah.
So you want to get some advice there.
Okay.
But there are a number of ways you can accomplish. The thing you want to accomplish is access to the funds.
Okay.
In case he's not able.
Yeah.
And in terms of transfer, it's got to be done well before the demise and well before the onset of an illness. Otherwise, it's fraud. Good luck, kid. I'm Bruce Williams. This is Talknet. Hello there, Denver. It's your turn.
Bruce, how's it going?
Everything's fine, thank you.
You're keeping busy, aren't you?
Oh, you got that part right.
I got a little problem that we may all face sometime in one way or another. My mother's 76 years old. She lives alone. She fell in her house, called the ambulance. The ambulance came in to take her to the hospital just with minor injuries. She has bad arthritis or something. And getting along there all right. The ambulance driver reported the condition of her house to the city.
Well, what was there to report?
She has newspapers stacked around, like people do. They hoard things, and
well, that's not healthy though.
It's not healthy, is right. And we've tried for 2 years, my sister and I, to get her to change it. She said, "I will disown you. I'll do this. I'll do that."
Well, she disowns you. That's all.
Well, I know that's all. Well, anyhow.
I'm serious.
Right. The city won't let her move back in.
Well, I don't blame. If the house is that bad, then your mother ought to talk about a competency hearing.
Well, that's true. That's probably what I called about is this. Can I go in there without her okay to clean that house up?
No, I would. It's your mother.
And then just let her get mad at you. Well, we tried it before, and she has. She's just completely disowned us for a while.
Well, it sounds like your mother is really, put it lightly, not playing with a full deck.
Well, that's kind of what I thought, too.
Well, if that's the case, then you're going to have to go to the court.
She's very able to handle some other legal transactions. Very competent.
Not necessarily.
Well,
not necessarily.
I've watched her do it, though. I've been there.
Oh, wait a minute. The fact that she could fill out a checkbook and make a good decision with the stock market does not necessarily mean she's competent.
She negotiates a rental agreement, a lease agreement.
Doesn't mean she's competent.
Well,
there are a lot of crazy people that can do a lot of very, very sane things.
That's probably true.
But if your mother is living the way you described, I mean, and it's to the point where, I mean, see, you're saying, well, it's a few newspapers. I mean, it sounds to me like she's living in a ton of
bad. No, it's bad. My sister and I have said that.
Yeah, I understand that, and you're trying to be nice. It's your mom and all that.
We're trying to.
But the fact is, it sounds like your mother is over the edge. In that area. That doesn't mean she couldn't negotiate a contract that would make you and I look silly.
Right. So you would say just go ahead and do it.
I would have her examined by a physician. You go to the court. The court will make her get examined.
Yeah.
And have one of you declared, one of you or both of you declared. Now that's we're talking about an ugly proposition.
Right, exactly. That's the whole thing, yeah. And I've talked to a social worker about it.
Well, you can talk to your mother if you think she's as sane as you say.
Well,
say, here's the situation, Mom. Here's the situation.
Yeah.
You're going to like it or not like it, but you're going to clean up your act, or we're going to go to court and have you declared, as if we can, incompetent. And that's going to be nasty and mean, and we don't want to do that.
Yeah.
But where's she living now?
She's in the Midwest.
No. They won't let her in her house. Where is she living?
Oh, she's in the hospital now. She's going to be discharged, and they're going to put her in a nursing home for about $50 a day, which she can't really afford.
Well, why don't you explain? You're in Denver. Where is she?
She's in Iowa.
You're going to have to go to Iowa.
Well, that's it. I'm waiting for a call any time now. She's not that ill.
You ought to be in Iowa now.
Well, that's what I think, too.
How about your sister? Where is she?
She's in Boston.
Well, she ought to be on an airplane, too.
Well, she's getting ready to come, so...
The two of you going to sit down with her and say, look, honey, we appreciate what you're going through. However, Here are your choices. Either you're going to let us go in there and clean this up, and you're going to promise to sin no more, and we're going to have somebody drop by every few days to see that you're not sinning anymore, or alternatively, we're going to go for a competency hearing. Now, you don't like that very much, and we don't like it very much.
She had a situation with a neighbor that, the neighbor of hers there that she didn't get along with. She called probably 100 different people, and she had about half of them listening to her. And she made it tough on her. I'll tell you. This was about a year ago.
Who, your mother or the
My
neighbor?
mother.
Well, it sounds like your mother is in need a little more help than I thought.
Well, I think she does too, but then you have to get into psychiatric end.
That's right.
That's worse yet. I mean,
no, it's not worse yet. I had an aunt that we went through this to the extent there's almost a word in the language, the Colliers. Does that mean to you?
Yeah, I've heard. Yeah,
there was a Collier mansion. I think it was in New York City, probably 50 years ago.
Right.
40 years ago, sorry. And they walked in. That was the same thing. Tunnels of through the debris and all that sort of thing.
Yeah.
Well, I'll tell you, I had an aunt who was the same routine. Where I walked in to finally, my brother and I into the house. I mean, she's been dead for 15 years, so I guess you can talk about this kind of stuff now.
Right.
I mean, she was off the deep end. I mean, there were newspapers and debris. We had to tunnel your way into a table, a 5-room house, and you couldn't walk 10 feet in the whole joint.
Sounds familiar, yeah.
Okay, well, we just made it very clear to her. You're leaving today. When you come back, this is all going to be history. And when she came back, my boys were only they weren't even teenagers at the time. We spent the whole day with a big old truck going to the dump, and we just chucked everything.
Well, that's what I want to do, Steve. Is she legally if I walk in?
I don't know. I don't know what my aunt could have done legally. I didn't ask that question. I just dumped it.
Yeah.
Now, I don't know. I mean, what am I? I'm too stupid to know about the law, so I just went in with a truck.
Well,
I think I lost her dog. I heard about that for years.
Right. It's one thing to have your mother upset with you for a year or two, but it's another thing to have her suing you or something. That's the only thing I'd worry about.
The courts aren't going to listen to that.
You don't think they would?
Particularly, you've already had a social worker involved, and they turned her in for being a squirrel.
Yeah.
Meaning, squirreling things away.
Yeah, right.
No, I don't think that's a problem.
Filthy dishes around, this and that.
I think, though, you're going to have to, I think maybe you got another problem here, Tiger. You may have to decide that your mom is going to go to Denver or Boston.
Well, that's the other thing. See, I may drive back there, and we probably don't want to face the reality. I brought her back there before,
No, that is the reality, unfortunately.
I know, right?
I've been down the road, so I can sympathize with you. Not to this extent.
Yeah.
Happily, my mother is still alive, and she is still very much in command of her faculties.
Right.
But she can be very unreasonable. I mean,
I honestly think this is being unreasonable. She's very stubborn, very independent.
I don't think so. I don't think so. I think but that's an illness when you start what you're describing, the dirt, the filth, and the squirreling. That's ill.
Yeah, I think. Well, it may be getting that one. I don't know. Maybe we don't know where the fine line is.
Well, if I were you, buddy, I'd be on a plane tomorrow morning. I'd want to get there before she got discharged. You want to go take a look at the house to see how bad it is.
I already know how bad it is.
Wait a while. If you're going to clean it out, take some photographs beforehand.
Take some photographs.
Of the debris and whatever. And as you remove it, take some photographs. So you can prove, if it ever comes to a court situation.
Sure.
You can prove that it was as bad as you say it is.
Sure.
Make certain you have the names of the people involved, the ambulance service, and so on and so forth.
Probably get a written letter from the city, don't you think?
You'll probably get more than that before it's over.
I'm sure that's probably what will happen. Yeah.
It's a problem of our society.
It really is. This is not the first situation I've known of, but I have never been in the middle of it.
I will tell you this, that I've spent a little time investigating, and one of these days I may persuade somebody to do some commercials because I really think it's worthwhile. There are parts of the country, and Florida happens to be one of them, where geriatrics is an industry. And there is so much more available for people like your mother there than there is in Denver or in Iowa or in Boston or New Jersey.
Well, even Denver has more than Iowa, of course.
But you don't have anything like what they have in Florida. I'm telling you. I know that. That where there are so many retirees that geriatrics is an industry where you can go to physicians that's all they treat is older people and they have a feel for it.
Right.
Or you can find hairdressers that only set the hair on elderly women.
Sure.
And they have a definite feel for it as opposed to some young woman who sees one elderly woman in 50.
Right.
And there are facilities in Florida at prices which are, by a lot of standards, extremely reasonable that are far better than things I found elsewhere in the country. And I looked around the country. It's just it's an ongoing problem. We are living. I saw an article in the paper. Was it the Journal? I guess today. It was a Journal. that was talking about people, how much longer we're going to live.
Right.
Because of certain medical advances.
Right.
And the longer we live, the more our children are going to have these problems.
Exactly. Well, you and I might be there someday. We never know. We hope not.
I certainly hope not.
I do too, because you get in the middle of it and you just.
You got it. I want to die in the wrong guy's bed at 104. I want him to shoot me. I want to have good reason. I'm Bruce Williams. This is Talknet. La Crosse, Wisconsin. I'm so pleased you're here. Hello there.
Hello.
Hi.
Hi. Myself and 3 friends have a problem, and I'm hoping you can give us a little guidance.
Well, I will do my best. What kind of a problem, buddy?
Okay. March last year, 4 of us paid in full to a local travel agent for a cruise that was supposed to go in January of this year.
All right. How come you paid so far in advance?
He said that was the cruise line's policy.
I don't believe that.
Well, that's what we were told, and we followed it.
Right.
So we paid him in full.
How did you pay?
A check.
That's the second mistake. Go ahead.
Yeah, I know. It should have been a charge card.
That's right.
Well, anyway, he sent in a deposit, and by the time he had finished with his show, 69 people had signed up.
What do you mean finished with his show?
Oh, he had a gathering where he showed videos and different things like that, and then had people sign up.
I see.
And so 69 people had decided to sign up. 4 of us were, among that group.
All right.
He sent in deposits for 69 people and never sent any more money. And so the cruise line did give him several extensions, hoping that he would get the money in.
How do you know that?
Through speaking with them.
The cruise line.
Mm-hmm.
And did he send, when he sent the deposits in, did he send names and addresses or just deposit in for so many bodies?
He must have sent names and addresses because they had everybody's name and address on the manifest.
Did the cruise line ever contact you and tell you this was going on?
No.
Mm-hmm. All right.
And so then, with his speaking back and forth with them, he handpicked 11 people to go on that cruise with the money that had been sent on the deposit.
How did he decide who was anointed?
I have no idea.
He handpicked people to go. Isn't that interesting?
Yes, that was very, very nice of him, I thought.
I think so.
But
I take it you were not one of the lucky winners.
No, I was not. And I was supposed to leave on the 6th of January, and 8:30 the previous Wednesday night, he started notifying people there was no cruise.
What did he say about the money?
He just said he couldn't go into it.
He couldn't go into it?
That he was working with the lawyers for the cruise line, and that we would have our money back in 6 to 8 weeks.
Mm-hmm.
And I think he thought that we were all just going to hold off and do nothing against him.
Did you go on the cruise?
No.
Why not?
I don't have that kind of money.
Oh, I see. Okay. Go ahead.
So, the 40 of the 58 who did not get to go have filed felony charges.
Well, I think that's deserving.
Mm-hmm. But we were wondering if there's anything, because of the way it was handled.
By the cruise line?
Yeah.
I think the cruise line would have some responsibility here to notify you. Since they sent the travel agent sent the deposit in, if they had your names and addresses. Now, you say they apparently did.
Yes, they
then
did.
I think they had a responsibility to let you know if the money wasn't forthcoming. The deposits hadn't been forthcoming.
Well, another thing that I found out, too, is that this travel agent was bonded through a cruise-type thing that bonds just for this.
In that case, you guys are all suing. I take it you're suing. You said you filed criminal complaints. The same attorney, I assume, is filing a civil action for you. Or is he?
Well, we haven't really done anything for sure.
Why not?
We want to see, how things are coming.
I wouldn't see how things are coming at all. I'd slap a civil action on him immediately.
Well, he had his pre-trial or preliminary hearing.
But that's a criminal action.
Mm-hmm.
I'm talking about civil.
Oh, civil? Like
yes,
small claims?
No, not small claims. It's not small claims matter.
Okay, it's civil action.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
Try to recover the money.
Well, he has filed bankruptcy.
Oh, boy. Then look to the bonding company, because if he's filed bankruptcy, you're out of luck.
Okay, here's where the problem lies.
Now what?
The bonding company told me that if the cruise line had canceled the reservation because of non-payment, then the cruise line would have to file our claims for it. And at one time, they said that they had released the reservation because of non-payment.
Sell the property and other family members move in.
The lien still, well, they don't sell the property. The lien means verbal.
Right. So I'm wondering when I see some money.
What other assets does this person have?
It's been 5 years.
No, I mean, I'm sorry.
Uh-huh.
What other assets does this party have? I take it was the older person's dog that bit you, right?
Right.
And how much is the judgment for?
$5,000.
Do they have anything besides the house?
To my knowledge, I'm not sure. No.
The likelihood is in the house. Well, do you know what kind of relatives he has?
Children and grandchildren.
Well, chances are there's more than one heir, and they'll want to whack the house up. How much is the house worth?
I'd say about 50 to 70.
Okay. The chances are they're going to want to sell it.
Uh-huh.
And they can't sell it without settling with you.
Okay.
You have to kind of wait it out. The guy didn't have a homeowner's policy when the dog bit you?
No.
You sure of that?
Well, I handle it. I pass it on to the attorney, and he's handling everything. And every time I talk to him and try to get some insight on it, I'm getting it nowhere.
Well, I'm sure through the discovery process he'd find out if there was insurance, because he didn't get any money either.
No, exactly. So it's $5,000 plus judicial interest. And like I said, it's been 5 years, and I still haven't heard anything on it.
Mm-hmm. The judgment, oh, by the way, judgments have to be renewed in most jurisdictions. I don't know about under Napoleonic Code, but under English common law, it has to be renewed every so often.
Okay, well, that's one thing I can do.
You make sure that if there's a renewal, the process you have to go through to get it done.
Okay.
Otherwise, patience, my dear.
All right.
I wish you well. I'm Bruce Williams. I am indeed. And this is Talknet. Honolulu, Hawaii. Aloha.
Hi, Bruce.
Hi.
I love your show.
Thank you.
I have a question for you. I own a small business with a partner of mine, and I was talking to an accountant. He said one accountant told me we should be an S corporation to remove our liability. Another accountant told me if we were a lawyer, we could set up our business as a trust, whereby all liability would be removed, and our taxes would be greatly reduced, and we would release the things we use from our trust. Technically, we would not be the owners, but we would continue to control the business.
Well, first, what kind of business are you running?
We sell comics, basically, a comic book shop, baseball cards, that sort of thing.
Well, how much liability can you get involved in anyway there?
I guess the liability, we're a small business, and we have a 2-year lease we just started. Let's say we were to go out of business, they could not come after us, that sort of thing.
You mean as far as debts are concerned?
Yeah, I mean, we would definitely pay our debt, but in the sense that my partner owns a Corvette, for example, and they couldn't go after his Corvette before.
Well, if you paid your debts, that wouldn't be a problem.
Well, we do pay our debts, but in the case we did go out of business, I mean, right now we borrowed a lot of money and so forth. And actually, that wasn't so much of a problem, but he said we would pay virtually no taxes.
I don't know of any system where you pay virtually no tax if you're making any money. And I've never heard of establishing a trust rather than incorporating. Now, I've said many times, everything I'm involved with is incorporated and kept separate. But you see, you are active in the business. Right. So if somebody's going to sue, they're going to sue both the company and you personally.
So being incorporated wouldn't make any difference?
Well, it may make some difference. How much business do you guys do?
We make, on a good month, 10,000, and our bills right now run from 3,000 to 5,000.
You mean your gross 10,000?
Yes,
The tax consequences of incorporating are worth exploring. But you benefit. You can set up pension plans and all sorts of good things under sub S. I have never heard of this starting a trust, to have a trust on a business. So there may be some good reasons to do that, but I'm okay with that.
Yeah, I've never heard of it either, so that's why I wanted to accept it too.
Well, I've never heard of that, but I certainly think that incorporating has some merit, whether in your case it's worthwhile or not. I don't know, but then as soon as you tell me partners, at least a partnership is much more clearly defined when it's a corporation. Because each of you owns so many shares and so on and so forth. I just think it makes a lot more sense.
Incorporated?
Yeah, I really do.
Okay.
But I'm not, in your case, I don't see a lot of liability. If anybody sells you comics, for example, I have to believe they want your guy's signature as well as the corporation, if there was one.
I see.
Then it's not going to give credit to some little corporation and let you guys off the hook.
I see. Well, you know, I mean, if we did go under, we were always intending to pay our bills.
Well, good intentions aside, if I were selling you something, I'll guarantee this, I wouldn't sell it to you without a personal signature.
I see. So with that, regardless of whether we're incorporated or not,
you are still firmly on the hook.
I see.
I do wish you well, guys.
Okay, thank you.
Thanks very much for your call. Well, we'll leave Hawaii and go a little bit east to Olympia, Washington. Hello there.
Good evening, Bruce.
Good evening.
Hey, I've got a question for you.
Yes, sir.
I was laid off several months back from a large manufacturer here in the Puget Sound area and have no real skilled trade at my age, which is 41. And I've gone back to college. I've enrolled now, days and nights, and looking into the teaching profession. But at 41, I'm looking at 2, maybe 3 years of school because I have some credits behind me.
So you'd be 45 when you finish, or 44 or something.
Approximately, yes. And I'm wondering if I'm being realistic.
Depends upon on the discipline.
Pardon?
It depends upon the discipline that you select. In large measure, if you choose elementary, for example, you're dead in the water, my friend. If you chose teaching middle school physics or any of the sciences really, or middle or high school math, I think you got a pretty good shot.
That was my leaning. Mathematics, I've shown an inkling towards it. I seem to be able to keep up in class, even though it's been some time since I've really done it. And so that was my science math major.
Well, don't take my words for it. Go ask some questions around the school districts where you are currently living, and I assume that you want to stay in that area.
I'm willing to relocate.
Well,
I haven't checked them yet.
And find out where the holes are. And I think you're going to find that the majority, but the majority of vacancies that are more well, first of all, let me back off that altogether. If you really want to find the easiest teaching jobs, easiest meaning the most plentiful, right? The special ed areas. Without question.
Yes, I have to ask myself if I really have that type of nature and be truthful.
Well, that's another matter. I was a special ed major. And you have to ask a lot of people just would not be comfortable in that environment. But we're talking straight where the jobs are. Then the next would be in the sciences.
Yeah, that seems to be, like you say, where the holes are at. I've checked. I have the availability. There's a number of school districts around this area within driving.
Yeah, the reason for that is because the people with those backgrounds are also being sought after in the private sector a great deal more than someone who has, say, a degree in general elementary or early childhood. And that is not a criticism of those disciplines. It's just a matter there's little in the private sector that is analogous. But certainly if you are an accomplished mathematician, whether you are a great teacher or perhaps a theorist or whatever, there's work out there for you in the private sector.
And what's your feelings? Any tips? Now, I'm a married man, children, 1 in college, 3 at home. I'm going to
have to form your own college kid, and you'll never live it down.
That's hard to do. He's more recent at it than I am. In fact, we pass each other going to class each day. It's kind of a strange feeling.
George Burns did a movie about that.
Yeah, that's right. I think he did.
He was the grandfather, though.
Yeah.
Not the father.
I remember that one. Taking a real estate school at night to pass the exam here in the state to try to support myself during this period. I'm relatively economically stable. No credit cards, no car payment, that type of thing. And how do you feel about real estate?
Well, that's like saying, how do I feel about food or sex or anything else? There's good and there's bad. There's money to be made selling real estate. A lot of people can't do it. First of all, it's a long-term proposition. You know, it's rather like if you have a 200-foot garden hose, turn the water on right now, you're not going to see water instantly spout out of the other end, not until the hose gets filled. So the same thing is true with real estate. Well, if you make a sale today or sign a contract today, you may not see any money for 3 or 4 months. You got to get the pipeline filled up. And you got to be patient. And some people are good at that and some are not.
Yeah, I have no qualms with straight commission. I think a person's always on straight commission.
Well,
working for somebody, he can be fired.
Absolutely. But I think the your question was a little more specific.
Yeah.
And the answer to that is there's no answer. There are people, I know a couple of folks, I know one guy in particular who's doing extremely well. Even in a down market, he's a hell of a salesman.
That's where.
That's right.
He's out there.
And I also know a couple of acquaintances that have no need to hustle, and they aren't doing quite as well because the pressure isn't on, and maybe it's not in their nature to be as well. And that's not a criticism either. So there's good and there's bad. There's people good at it and bad at it, whatever. You have to decide where you fit. I do wish you well with them. I do indeed. I wish you well. This is Talknet. Thank you so very much. What's on your mind?
Well, I'm getting married in about 4 months. My fiance and I are both teachers. We both have experience teaching in schools. I've been a camp director. We both work with youth groups. We decided we want to spend a couple years having some fun.
How old are you guys?
26, 27.
Why not? No obligations?
Exactly. If we're going to do something fun, we want to do it now.
Well, I don't agree with that. I say do it now and do it then.
Okay. Well,
you're never going to. Pardon me?
That may happen also.
Okay. So what do you want to do?
We're going to have a lot of stuff. We're going to have a lot of house. What we'd like to do, using we cover between our experiences, kindergarten through high school, we cover special ed, regular ed, everything. We'd like to work on a cruise ship, maybe at a Club Med resort that has kids programs.
Cruise ship, you can forget about.
Forget about that?
You can forget about it. For all intents and purposes, forget about it.
Even like leading kids programs, those kind of things?
You got serious problems.
We're American.
That's right.
That's something I've been told.
That's true. And you were told correctly.
Okay. So that's a bad.
Well, the fact is you're just not going to work for the kind of money we're talking about.
Okay.
It's having fun is one thing, but you're just not going to work for that kind of dough.
Okay.
As for the Club Med thing, I don't know. I don't know where they get their people from. You're talking about an overseas position, I assume.
Honestly, we were just sort of throwing around any ideas we could think of. We know, for instance, that Disney runs their cruises.
You're talking about, actually Disney is in partnership with the Big Red Boat.
Red Ship, right, Big Red Boat.
Big Red Boat.
And we know that. That was an example we came up with of what we thought might be a lot of fun.
That's a possibility, but I doubt it.
Okay. Again, we thought of Club Med. I don't know if the other village communities like that do the all-inclusive packages.
Well, the place that you're going to find that is getting more and more kid-oriented and having that kind of stuff?
Somebody else said this also, Las Vegas.
What are you calling me for?
Somebody else mentioned that, and I thought they were crazy, but confirm that for me.
Yes. That's true. They do where do you begin? I was out there not too long ago. At the Mirage, Siegfried and Roy, right?
Okay.
Siegfried and Roy used to be at the Frontier. When they were at the Frontier, I thought it was a better show, frankly.
Cool.
But it was a topless show and the whole routine, right? Steve Wynn has tops on all his women now. Why? Because he's trying to get the families in.
Become a family town.
I don't think Las Vegas is ever going to be a family town personally, but I still don't think children belong in and around casinos. And I like to play. Don't misunderstand me. But you got places like, Las Vegas Hilton, for example, has like a club, you know, a camp in the hotel. That place we're talking about. We park a tot so that the parents can go out and do the shows, and that's fine.
Okay. Let's just say we are talking Vegas. Do we send letters and resumes to the hotels themselves? That's the best way to start?
Well, you're going to find it's highly competitive. I'm sure. And every time you turn around in Las Vegas, there's another hotel.
Right.
And not so long ago, last year, about a part of December, the MGM opened up with 505 rooms. Right next door to a Mirage. Steve Wynn opened Treasure Island. I never even saw that one coming. Vegas World is adding on to their place. They're adding, I think, 10,000 rooms. This last year, they added 10,000 rooms, something like that. I think you'd probably have, pardon me?
That's the size of it.
It is, and what's amazing is they fill them.
Yeah.
That's what's surprising. But there's no question Las Vegas is becoming different.
Right.
You still have the basic, the basic games and the rest of that. But the shows are becoming more and more family-oriented, which I suppose is not a bad thing.
Well, with Vegas as an idea, possibly, we have planned to somehow try to get in touch with the Disney organization or
That's easy to do, and you go to the cast office in Orlando.
Right.
If you want to work at Disney World.
Right, Barry. Do you have any other ideas of where we might want to look to do? Again, we're thinking fun, minimal responsibility, but also using our talent, having fun doing it, spending some time together. Any other brainstorms?
No. Off the top of my head, I don't think that, as I said, the Big Red Boat maybe. I don't know I've never been on one of those.
Right.
And it wouldn't be for me, frankly, because it's designed for having, little trolls along. I love to go on cruises, but not with trolls.
Yeah, we're that kind of people.
Well, I would have done that 25 years ago, but not today.
Right.
So I don't know what the Big Red Boat offers. I really don't know. I know it's designed for kids. I don't know what services they. I doubt if they maybe have group leaders. I don't think they have sitting as such, but maybe they do. The other cruise lines, I think you can pretty much write off.
All right.
Las Vegas, as I said, is a thought. You mentioned the self-contained resorts, and that may well be a possibility. And there are two or three besides Club Med that are topped up, with these all-inclusive propositions.
The village kind of places, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
There's also, just in places like New York City or Chicago, a need for a place to park kids from time to time.
Right. I'm trying to think, big hotels don't necessarily run programs.
Yeah, well, not programs as such, but they may come to that too.
Right.
And you might be able to sell them on a program of sorts.
That's an interesting idea also, try to design our own kind of program.
Indeed.
That's an interesting idea, too.
Sounds like fun, kid.
It's a great idea in the head.
Las Vegas is not a bad place to hang out for a young couple with no responsibilities.
That's Las Vegas, you think?
Yeah, there are worse places to hang out for. There are worse places.
Not much money either, unfortunately, though. So
I'm sorry?
I wouldn't end up saving or putting away too much money.
Well, I didn't know that was your goal. I thought your goal was to have a good time.
Well, I'm going to have fun, too, but I'd rather not gamble away my liability.
Well, I didn't say you had to gamble. Who said you had to gamble?
Well, I have to, I guess. That's the question.
I do wish you well, guys.
Appreciate it. Thank you.
Have a great time. I'm Bruce Williams. I'm indeed. Ted English. This is Talknet. Albany, New York. QBK country. Hello there.
How you doing, Bruce?
I am very well, thank you.
Glad to talk to you.
I'm very happy that you're here. What can we do for you?
Okay, I've been listening to you for a while and about your contest, your $1,000 truck.
Well, it's not a contest. It's a wager on it.
Yeah, right. The $1 million prize at the end.
Well, there's no $1 million. I would offer that was a little different stuff that I've offered the most.
Oh.
I offered to go to law school.
Oh, okay.
I said when people were complaining, you can't do this, you can't do that. I said, in my advanced years, I'll continue to do my program, wrap out my column and all that sort of thing, and go to law school, and graduate in 3 years, and in the top 10% of my class, I'm willing to wager $1 million I can do it.
Okay, well, I guess my concern is that I've always worked for wages, never been in business for myself of any kind.
Okay.
So, since I think since the last clue you gave on the truck and the $1,000 deal.
What I said for people who have, I've seen a phone call, that I could go to any major metropolitan area at the time of the year of my choice, because I wouldn't come to Albany in January or February. Forget that. I mean, I don't go to deep freezes voluntarily. But it's my choice at the time of the year. With $1,000, a truck of my choice, which wouldn't cost a lot of money, a valid driver's license, and in my advanced age and tier rating, physical condition, all the rest of it, I could make 40 grand the first trip.
Right. Okay. And, well, the last clue you gave was look at the classifieds. I said there for anyone that is willing to look.
I said the classifieds offer the greatest insight into an area. That's
right.
True. I will stand by that.
Okay. Now, okay, I think I've gotten over that hurdle. Now, like I said, I've never been in business. I don't know what's all involved.
And what I'm suggesting is not a hell of a lot involved except wheeling and dealing.
Right, exactly. But I mean, in other words,
am I going to tell you
who's involved?
I'm not going to tell you. That's something you have to work out for yourself. I'm saying what the point I'm trying to make.
Well, no,
however inarticulately, is that there's opportunity staring at everybody.
No, okay, I get that.
You just got to go out and look for it. You got to be able to recognize it, and you know it's not going to hit you in the face, but you got to go out and seek it out.
Well, okay, all right. Forget that I mentioned the contest deal.
Well, it's not a contest; it's a wager out there.
A business of my own.
Okay.
Do I go to an accountant and he can lead me?
First of all, you got to decide what kind of a business. That's the first step.
Okay.
And what makes you believe that you can conduct that business? And then, where's the money coming from to put this thing in order? And then, how do we, where, as far as licenses, some require licenses, some don't. Some require personal training, some do not. There's some fundamentals. You got to have tax numbers and that sort of thing. If you provide a taxable product or service, then you have the sales tax number. If there's a sales tax in your state, most states do. All the little dots, whatever, but that's all routine stuff. Do you have any notion as to what kind of business you want to go into?
Well, like you said, it's probably be involved in buying something cheap and selling it at a profit.
Well, but what? You see,
anything I could run into?
Well, that probably is you're heading for trouble. You got to be a lot more focused than that. That's not a criticism; it's an observation.
No, I understand. Well, that's why I thought I'd run it by you before I get out there.
Well, the first thing you got to do is sit down and. How old are you?
43.
Okay, you got to take an inventory of yourself. I don't think you're going to be doing the high hurdles.
No.
I mean, because you're too old for that, or for Olympic swimming or whatever. On the other hand, you're very young for politics. What I'm trying to get to, age is a relative thing. But you got to sit down and do an inventory of your own skills, your own abilities, your own assets, or what access you have to assets, this sort of stuff. Now, I only got a couple of seconds here. What have you been doing for the last 20 years?
Working with computers.
What else?
Not much else. That's why I thought this sounded like possibly a good way to go.
Well,
for when I get too old and I get downsized.
Well, as an example, do you want to start? Would you like to sell computers? Would you like to consult with computers? Would you like to offer services to folks who really can't have a very elaborate system of their own, but maybe you could share it among 15 or 20 clients if we're going to start with computers? Mm-hmm. These are the kinds of questions you have to ask yourself and then come up with some reasonable answers. That's self-assessment. I do wish you well, my friend.
All right, well, thanks a lot. We'll
hang in there.
Try again sometime. Maybe I made a ton, huh?
Hey, I hope you make 2.5 tons. And that's sincere.
That would be worthwhile.
There you go, kid. I'm Bruce Williams. Hang in. We're very pleased to have you here. This is tough. St. Paul, Minnesota. Hello there.
Hello, Bruce. I finally get to talk to you.
Well, I'm very happy time to call. What's on your mind?
Hey, I'm having insurance situation or problem.
What kind of insurance?
I deliver pizza for a very large pizza company. And here in Minnesota, a few years ago, they changed the laws for insurance. And on your personal automobile policy now, like 99% of the policies have exclusions for pizza delivery, newspaper, etc.
Well, that's because it's a high-risk enterprise.
Yep. And
newspapers have been excluded for a million years.
Oh, they have?
What's that?
Oh, okay. What is? Well, I found out with a company I was with for like 2 years that they wrote an exclusion in their policy. And I went to one company, and the guy either didn't know his policies or lied to me, and then I found out 2 weeks later. Now I'm with another company.
Well, wait a minute, but you skipped over that. What do you mean you lied to you? Didn't know?
He said that I was covered for delivering pizza.
And your policy specifically said no?
Yeah, and it said no. Well,
it's it is a commercial endeavor, and most people are trying to do this in a private automobile with personal insurance, not commercial insurance. I know that, for example, I own a truck. I own a couple of trucks out there. Make these deliveries, right?
Yeah.
Well, you don't think that we get the same rate on liability on those trucks as we get on a car?
No.
It's probably not. I'm just trying to think. I bet it's something on the order of 4 times as much.
Oh, that ain't bad.
Well, is it?
No, I do have a commercial policy now, and it's a little bit more than 3 times what I was paying.
Well, I'm saying 4.
Ooh. But, well,
I'm just comparing one of my trucks that I paid a bill for recently with what I pay in my car.
Oh.
It's about 4 times.
Well,
for the liability.
You know, it's from a car to a truck, though.
Same difference. At least a light delivery there. I'm not talking about an 18-wheeler.
Okay.
Anyway, you got to pay the premium.
Yeah, pay the premium. To make a long story short, you know, I make minimum wage. I do get mileage, and
you work on tips.
And I work on tips, and you know that it's like $15.60 a year I'm paying. That's about half of what I get in tips in a year.
The problem is that the pizza companies are getting a free ride.
Yeah, they have.
And that's over.
Yeah, especially with a lawsuit citizen.
Yeah, well, you saw that one of the biggest companies no longer delivers in half an hour.
Yep.
So stop that.
What I want to get to in the call is I've called people at the state level. I've talked to a lot of insurance.
Well, what is it you're trying to accomplish? You're not going to get insurance for less.
No. Well, what insurance agents and people at the state level have told me that my company and other companies are eventually going to have to offer a supplemental.
What did I just go through saying? That they've been getting a free ride, and the free ride is over.
But what's going to happen?
What's going to happen? I have to raise the price of pizza.
But
if they raise the price $1 a pie, that would cover the premium without any problem. How many deliveries do you make in the course of an 8-hour shift?
Ooh, an 8-hour shift. Probably working an 8-hour shift, probably about 30.
If they charge $1 extra for each pizza, right?
Yeah.
That would be $7,500 a year. They could very easily pay the premiums.
Yeah.
And that's what it's going to have to come down to. But they were getting there's no buts. They were getting a free ride from guys like you and the insurance companies were getting a free ride because when they quoted you a personal passenger rate, the underwriters who figured out what that should cost never ever figured that you'd be scurrying around making 150 deliveries in the course of a week. That's a heck of a lot of exposure. And when you add that to the premium, it's placed upon rapid response, for lack of a better term, that's going to increase the possibility of accidents, and you further increase it by the vast majority of that action is not in the daytime, but at nighttime, isn't it?
Yeah. Yeah.
So the exposure is just very great. And a half a buck extra deliveries would pay the premium.
Yeah, easily would.
And that's what it's going to come down to. They're not going to get
the free lunch anymore.
You mean they're just going to have to charge for delivery?
They're going to have to raise it. The consumer has to pay all costs to provide a service and a product.
Yeah.
And if the only way that the consumer is either they charge extra for delivery charge, which is foolish, they'd be far better advised to raise the price of the product. But there's an expense in there that, as a practical matter, they have not been paying.
Mm-hmm.
Now, when I order a pizza, which is infrequent, but I do on occasion, I've been getting something for nothing. If that's over, it's not going to happen anymore. Now, maybe too late for you. Yeah, I'll be a tomorrow.
Because I'm going to do this, temporary.
Now. Oh, my goodness gracious.
You're a great, intelligent guy.
Well, aren't you sweet? Now you got me all stroked. I got to give you whatever you want.
Oh, okay.
Got my watch off already. Go ahead.
Okay. I had a car stolen out of my driveway.
Lovely.
Okay, 88 grand. I probably shouldn't mention names.
That's okay.
Okay.
How long ago was this?
It was discovered a day later.
How long ago? How long ago was this?
Okay, this happened 2 days ago.
Okay, we're talking about a couple-year-old car then.
Yeah.
All right, go ahead.
Okay. This happened, 3 days ago. Okay,
Doesn't matter.
It was stolen on one day, then the next day it was recovered down in Detroit area.
Kids stole it probably, stripped it.
4 juveniles, 16 and under. Okay, Detroit called me, police station, told me to come down and I could pick it up. I called the insurance company. They said, okay, go down, pick it up. I said, well, I want it towed from Detroit right down to the dealership.
Why?
Well, I didn't want to take the drive and all that inconvenience of going and getting it.
Well, I'm not sure if that's your right.
Well, anyway.
What'd they say about that?
They says, well, you're going to have to come up with $500 deductible, because the keys were left in the car, and it was in my driveway.
Did you leave the keys in it?
My husband did.
Well, that's not too smart.
I know. So, okay.
Why wouldn't you just go down and pick up the car?
Well, so anyway, we did. Okay. We went down, picked it up, and the police on the phone told me that the car was just dirty inside, just needs a good cleaning. So we get down there to pick up the car, and my husband drove the car home, and because he didn't know for sure what kind of working order it was in. So anyway, we get there, the car is trashed inside, it's filthy, it's wet, it was raining, there is all kinds of stuff in the car. Well, then the front bumper, it needs to be replaced. There's probably the light don't work.
Wait, whoa!
Yeah.
Take a deep breath.
I know, I'm just nervous.
Now, the front bumper, was that busted before?
No. I mean, it was an A1
You're
top
sure?
thing.
Now, all right, you got the bumper. What else?
Okay, there's probably, the blinkers don't work. The light is...
wait a minute. What could they do to the blinkers?
I don't know. But I'm telling...
If I were the insurance guy, you'd have a tough time collecting for me on that. I'd think you were lying to me. If somebody taking a car for a joyride, the blinkers don't stop.
Well, I'm just saying what's wrong with it. Okay, they worked when it was here. It was all in working order.
All right, what else?
It was my baby, okay?
What else?
Okay, so we're thinking right now it's probably got $1,000 worth of damage. I want the motor, looked at. And
I would tell you, my dear, if I were the insurance people, to take a long walk on a short pier.
So you say?
I would not honor your claim. I don't. You and I are friends, but you're asking me. I may as well give you the bad news. I wouldn't honor that claim in a minute.
Well, they're not fighting that. They're just fighting that the main thing is they said they'd take care of everything. It's just that they want me to come up with $500.
Well, of course, you got a deductible.
Because no, my deductible is $250.
Then why $500?
And $100 I got for comprehensive. And
wait a minute.
Hold
it. A stolen car is comprehensive.
Okay, they're telling me that there was a law in their policy. And I says, well, where is it wrote in the policy?
Well, it's not a law. There's no laws in an insurance policy. There are clauses. Now, what are they hanging their hat on here? That you left the keys?
The keys were left in the car, but the car was on my property.
It doesn't matter. You're not supposed to leave the key. And I'm not going to tell you I don't leave my keys in my car, because I do. But you're not. It's very careless and not smart to do such a thing.
No, it's not. But I'm
there may
trying
be
to fight them because I figure if my car was left with the keys in it in front of the 7-Eleven or...
No, doesn't. No, come on now. Come on, you're smarter than that.
Well, do you think I should have to pay the $500?
I don't know. Does the policy call for that?
Well, it doesn't say in the policy.
What does it... Look, they have a... first of all, The fact that they're going to pay for the bumper is amazing, and the other stuff.
Well, right, they're going to take care of it.
Well, that's amazing.
It's just that.
That's amazing. I think you got a pretty good company in that regard, because I wouldn't honor those claims either unless you could prove the kids wrapped it up. I'd say that's old. My contention, if I were the insurance adjuster, seriously.
I'm an honest person.
But I don't know that.
I am.
But I don't know that.
I know.
You understand what I'm coming at? Now.
Okay.
Hold it.
Okay.
If they're saying that in your policy that there's a penalty for being careless, then I would say to them, fine, would you please show me that part of the policy? Have you asked them to show you?
Well, I asked them to show it to me what page it was on, and they told me that, well, it's not in your policy, but we can make a copy for you and send it to you, or you can pick it up at the office, and I never went to get it yet.
Well, why don't you do that?
Well, but then why isn't it in my policy?
I don't know the answer to that, but see, you're flailing around in the dark, and you're angry with people, and you don't know what they're talking about. Now, how in the world can you defend that you don't understand? So if they have something they want you to look at, then by all means go pick it up and look at it.
Okay.
Yeah,
but then there was like, say $400 to $500 worth of valuables in the car.
Yeah.
Okay, I don't know if you want me to go through the valuables.
That's not covered.
Well, they're not covered.
That's
so then
right.
she says, well, then you have to
claim on your homeowner's policy. Well, that's right.
Well, then that's another $250.
That's right.
So right now I'm going to be $750 out, and these kids had a party and a picnic and really had a good time in my car.
That's also true. Nothing you can do about that. Now, if you think I'm not sympathetic, I had a car stolen. Everything my kid owned in the world was in the car. We were going off to college. And you think, I was just as ticked off as you are. But the homeowner's coverage on the contents is totally separate. It's a separate deal from the car itself. And you have to prove the damages that they did to it. Now, I don't know about the keys in the car thing. I don't know the answer to that. Take a look and see what they have to say about that. And there may be some statute in your state, maybe a law in the state. Could well be that to encourage people to take their keys. Don't know the answer to that. You're very fortunate, by the way. I'm going to take a little business here. I want to tell you something. You're not going to like this either, baby. I'm Bruce Williams. Stick around. This is Talknet. I'm chatting with a friend in Bay City, Michigan, and I may as well lay all the bad news or the good news on you, okay?
Okay.
You're a very lucky lady.
I am.
Yeah.
I don't feel too lucky.
Well, I'm going to make you feel very lucky. Suppose those kids had gone out and killed 3 or 4 people, right? You could have been held negligent for leaving the keys in the car.
I never thought of
and been responsible for those deaths and the money involved.
I didn't think of that.
So you got very lucky on this one,
Even though they took it right...
Honey, I don't give a damn if they took it out of your garage.
Oh.
You left the keys in the car. You made it easy to steal.
Okay.
You shouldn't do that. Now, I'm not going to tell you I'm not as guilty as you are, because I am.
Right.
I do it. But that doesn't make it right for me.
Well, don't do it again.
And it makes me just as dumb as you are, you see?
Yeah.
And we're all careless, but you got lucky, really. And never mind the money. Suppose they'd mowed down 3 or 4 young children. How would your conscience feel with having left the keys there for them?
Yeah.
You see?
Yeah, I guess I didn't think of it that way.
All the way around, I think you're getting off easy on this one.
You think so?
Yes, ma'am, I really do.
Okay.
You know, most cars, after 24 hours, have been stripped so badly you wouldn't recognize them.
Well, then maybe it would have been better and never come back.
No, well, but you get them back, but then that's another program. I do wish you well. But
don't leave your keys in the car.
You got it right.
Okay. Maybe everybody will learn a lesson out there.
Hey, most important, what's your first name?
Nancy.
Nancy. The most important thing is Nancy learns a lesson.
Yes, right.
Got you covered, sweetheart.
Okay, thanks a lot.
Take good care.
Bye-bye.
Listen, it's not a question of do as I do as I say, because I make every mistake that you've made. In all likelihood, I have made more often than I would ever care to admit. Port Hume, I guess it would be, California. Hello there.
Port Hueneme, Bruce.
How?
Port Hueneme.
How do you spell it?
Hueneme. The Gold Coast.
And how do you pronounce it?
Hueneme.
Hueneme.
Yeah, an old Indian name.
Must be.
Between Santa Barbara and Malibu.
Get rid of the Indian.
There you go.
What's on your mind?
Pleasure to speak with you.
It's must be with Hueneme. Holy Toledo. This is going to be my day. I can feel it coming. Go ahead.
Listen, I bought a 89 truck a year and a half ago.
Yeah.
And since the time I've owned it, it's been through 3 automatic transmissions.
How many miles on it?
At present, 23,000.
Boy, I should say, is this a little van maybe?
No.
Because I've got a
Same
little
manufacturer, Bruce.
I got a little van with, it just went through its third transmission at 59,000 miles.
Man. My first transmission was replaced at 6,300 miles.
Clearly, they got a problem with that transmission.
Well, here's the problem I'm having. I've been through the arbitration process.
Yeah.
I've been through many letters to the dealer, to the manufacturer.
Yep.
Everybody says, well, we're abiding by the warranty, but they're not fixing the problem.
Well, because the problem is when you're out of warranty, you'll blow another transmission.
Probably. Well, the problem is slipping of the transmission.
Yeah.
And they keep trying to repair it, and circumstances such as electrical shorts are happening prior to the transmission acting up. So I know when the transmission is going to start acting up again.
How is there correlation there? I'm curious.
Well, the transmission is electrical as well as mechanical.
Mm-hmm.
As a matter of fact, I had pulled electrical fuse out of the transmission just to get the tranny to get me home one night.
Is that right?
And
I think it's a question. You see, if we're talking about the same manufacturer, and we may very well be, they've had some heavy-duty problems with at least one of their trans.
Yes.
And is this a Ford?
No, sir.
No, then there's somebody else besides Ford's got a problem, because Ford has got a problem with one of their vans.
Wow.
And I mean, they had to extend their warranty. I mean, they did extend the warranty, which is clear admission that they've had a problem. And listen, problems can develop.
Right.
But in this particular van I've got, I don't know if it's a company that I have an interest in has, it's got 50-some-odd thousand miles and 3 transmissions. Now, it's absurd.
Yeah.
And it may well be you're going to wind up in court with this one.
Well, that's the other problem. I've gone through the reference book around here for attorneys, and nobody handles the so-called lemon law here.
Mm-hmm. Hang on a minute. Let me catch up with some obligations here. I'm not sure you need an attorney, but let's talk about it.
Oh.
I'm Bruce Williams. Stick around for more. This is Talknet. I'm talking with a gentleman in California. I would even try to pronounce port whatever it is here. And he's got an ongoing problem that I think a lot of us have. Problems with transmissions, problems with warranties. I'm sorry?
Yeah.
Now, you said that you looked in some kind of a reference guide. Have you called the local bar association?
I have.
And they say there's nobody that's handling...
I'm trying to get it under the lemon law.
Well, but forget about the lemon law for a moment.
Okay.
Have you? There's usually an attorney in every venue that is doing some work with automobile manufacturers. Is there none in yours?
Actually, Bruce, there probably is, but the problem I'm having is money to pay a lawyer. No one wants to take this case on the fact that they would make money from manufacturers.
It's contingency. No, they want to do it. They want to get paid.
Right, exactly.
And you don't have the money.
They want money up front.
Yeah, and you don't have the money, I take it.
No, I mean, this vehicle I bought is a $21,000 car or truck.
Yeah.
I sunk a lot of money into that, buying it, because it was the ultimate luxury car that I wanted at the time.
Well, I'm not being unsympathetic, but unhappily, you got to have the money to defend yourself sometimes.
Sure, and I don't. And the problem is I've talked to the owner of the dealership.
Yeah.
And of course, you see his commercials on the TV all the time. He says, our most important.
Yeah, okay, I don't want to get through that. I don't want to identify the guy. Well, the other answer is to go in and represent yourself. How much is it going to cost to have a tranny fixed? Well, they're going to fix the tranny this time, right?
Oh, yeah. It hasn't cost me a dime yet.
Yeah.
It's all been warranty. I've seen some of the bills at $2,500.
Mm-hmm.
And that's all warranty.
So what you're concerned about is what happens when the warranty is over.
Well, my concern about is how long am I going to have to put up with it?
Well, you know what I would do? Now, you're not going to like this answer either.
No.
Sell a truck.
I've thought about that.
That's what I'd get the thing fixed, then I'd sell a truck.
Well, the problem with that is I owe...
You're upside down.
Exactly.
How upside down are you?
Oh, I don't know
what do you owe on the truck right now?
Another 4 years, 2.5 years.
Oh my God! You financed it for 5 years?
No, 4 years.
Well, that's insanity too, as you know.
Yeah, I know.
But you wanted it.
Young and stupid.
How old are you?
I'm 30.
Oh boy, well you ain't that young.
Well, come on! I just heard you a caller a while ago.
Yeah, but you're old enough to know your way out of the barn when you're 30, or I hope so anyway.
That's true.
You know what I keep telling folks about financing more than 3 years for just the reasons that you're describing here. You get yourself involved and you can't get out.
You're right.
My inclination would be to go borrow the money and get out from under the truck.
Okay.
Or at the very least, talk to the dealer about a trade on another model. It may put you even more upside down.
I'm about ready to paint a sign on the car and go pick it up and
That doesn't get you very far either, I'm afraid. You gotta be careful. You gotta be careful of that, because you can put yourself in some legal jeopardy which you don't need.
Yeah.
This is a lousy answer, and I don't like the answer.
Nobody has any answer.
But my best answer would be to try to work out a deal you could trade this thing.
Okay, Bruce.
Into another vehicle. I mean, as upside down as you are, you'll be a little worse off, but at least you won't have the specter of an ongoing problem, because likelihood is it will be ongoing. I wish I had a better answer. I'm Bruce Williams. Good luck. This is Talknet.
Jeff will announce the current Break the Bank jackpot total right now.
This has got to be Native American Hour on Talknet. O'Connell Mock, Wisconsin.
You thought you had a problem with Ford 180, right?
I'm afraid to see what's coming up next here.
I know.
What's on your mind, dear?
Well, I am having a dispute with a major phone company. And after listening to recorded music for 3 days, I decided to call you.
Don't you love that? Well, stand by or hold on, please.
That's right.
And you get elevator music.
As I listen to all their advertisements, and I don't even have the service.
Oh, boy.
The problem was, 2 years ago when we had the choice, of changing phone companies.
Yes, they sent you out all this.
Yes.
Judge Green has struck again.
Yes. And, I love their ad. They always say they talk directly to you. After listening to this music, that's really a laugh. But anyhow.
One of the biggest ones, I had to, they are the proponents of the 800 number, except they don't have one.
That's right.
You want to call them, you got to call them on a regular telephone number across the country, and they're the guys who are pushing it. Oh, everybody needs an 800 number, everybody but them.
Well, I'm really curious as how many people have fallen victim to what I've just fallen.
What's happening?
Okay. I discontinued the service of this phone company, right?
Well, wait a minute. Let's go back. Of the original phone company?
Yes.
AT&T.
Yeah.
Okay. Let's face it. There's only a half a dozen.
Well, I know.
AT&T was the original till Judge Green got into the act.
Yes.
And now they got to get competitive, and you got MCI and Sprint
and all that, right? Okay. I dropped AT&T.
Okay.
2 years ago. So now the new company that I had taken sends a separate bill, right?
Yep.
Well, for 2 years now, I've come to find out that AT&T is still charging me a service charge.
For what?
I check my calls, right?
Yeah.
But, that little front part of the bill, they latch onto our regular state telephone bill.
Yeah. They latch on.
Yeah, that's actually...
The state company does the billing for you.
You know what they told me when I used that phrase? They said, "Oh, that's for your convenience, madam."
Naturally.
Yes. Well, anyhow, I always check the calls, but I have, just taken that 2 years ago, I quit that phone company, right?
AT&T.
Well, lo and behold, last month, I happened to look down at the front sheet.
Yeah.
And I see an $8 charge with about a $2 tax charge on it, right?
Yeah. What's that for?
I discontinued this company 2 years ago. There were no calls, just a service charge and the tax. So I called him, and he says, "Too bad, lady. How come you didn't notice that sooner?"
You gotta be kidding.
No kidding. And
you also have MCI or Sprint or somebody?
Yes. I discontinued this service completely 2 years ago.
How can you have both on the same phone?
Well, I have my Wisconsin Bell. And
wait a minute. I know you have Wisconsin Bell.
Yes.
But then you have to choose a long distance carrier, and you selected Sprint.
Right.
Well, then how is AT&T entitled to a service charge as well?
That's why I'm calling you. I used to have AT&T 2 years ago.
We went down that street. I want to know if you're being charged by Sprint.
Yes.
How can you be charged by AT&T? It looks to me like it's a billing error.
That's right.
Well, why don't you get on the phone to good old Wisconsin Bell and have a chat with them? And they are very nice people. I did some work with them.
They were very nice. They were very nice. But then I got the person from AT&T who was not so nice.
Well, why don't you give a fast call to the Public Utility Authority in Wisconsin?
All right. Because this comes to about $200 and some bucks.
Yeah, but I don't understand how they're entitled to two charges. Let's assume that for the sake of discussion, that AT&T is entitled to a charge, and how can Sprint get a charge at the same time?
Well, that's what I'm asking.
Because there's no benefit. You can't use both on the same line.
That's right. There have been no calls with this.
Well, without regard to that, I mean, don't gild the lily. All your position is, how could I possibly benefit from two?
That's
right. It. Stop right there. Don't talk past the close.
Okay. Okay. Now, you know what AT&T offered me? 3 months back reimbursement.
Oh, nonsense.
I said, you have 2 years of my money. He says, that's your fault for not noticing that sooner.
Well, I don't agree with that. I would kick this up to your local public utility authority, or they call it public utility commission or whatever in your state. I explain the circumstance, and you might tell them that I suggested that you call.
I sure will. I'll just say Bruce Williams said so.
There you go. I do wish you well, dear.
Okay, thank you, Bruce.
I noticed one yesterday. I was paying a phone bill. I'm going to get into this on another show. The 7 and 900 numbers. Well, inherently they are not wrong. I have no problem with that. But if you want to put a block on, you got to pay $5, and you also got to pay, I think it's a $16 or a $20, depending on if it's with a commercial or a private phone, service charge, so that nobody can make phone calls that you don't want made from your telephone. You never asked for the ability to dial 7 and 900 numbers. Why should you have to pay $20 to have your phone blocked off? Why not, it's not a problem for me because nobody has access to my phone but me, and I don't call those numbers, so I don't worry about it. But the guy with the young kids, or a business where you have a lot of employees who have access to your phones, who want to call the sex lines and whatever, you want to get blocked off. Why should you have to pay for the privilege of somebody not using your phone to charge? I don't understand that. Seems to me the phone companies made these services available. They ought to bear the cost of putting the block on if you want it on there. Or so it seems to me, Bruce Williams. I'll talk that. Son of a gun. Now, I got to ask this question of you. Is Miami an they don't say Indian anymore, Native American name? I think it is.
I think it was an Indian name.
Yeah, well, this is 3 in a row. My next call's from San Diego. I know where they got that name from. What's on your mind?
I got a problem. I've enjoyed your shows, and I don't know if you can solve my problem. My in-laws purchased some land about 30 years ago, 15 acres of land.
Yeah.
Good evening, Bruce. This is Jim from sunny Florida. How are you?
Yeah, I like the Dunedin area, Jim.
Oh, it's lovely.
You betcha.
It's supposed to get down to the low 48 tonight.
Jim, but it's tough work, but some poor soul has to put up with that.
Yeah, that's the way it goes, though.
What's on your mind, kid?
Got a question for you, and I'm going to have to back up a little bit and give you some background.
Go for it.
My mother-in-law lives in Glasgow, Scotland.
In Glasgow?
Right.
In Scotland, yeah.
Now, the city owns the apartment. It's like a triplex. They call them council houses.
I know what a council house is. Why don't you explain what that is? Explain what a council house was.
Well, it still is, but it's almost like a 2-story triplex.
Yeah, but the word council house has a more meaningful base.
Yeah, but I'm not all that familiar.
Well, what it meant was it was owned by the governing body of the community, and it was rented back to people at ridiculously low rentals. That's why they call them
council house.
Exactly.
Okay, now what it is, the city in the last 3 or 4 years has been making an attempt to sell
to get them off into private
principal occupant.
To get them into private hands. That's right.
Now, my mother-in-law and the selling price is based on how long you've lived there.
Which means she gets it at a very, very modest price.
Which means that my mother-in-law can have it for $32,000, and it's a 2-story stone house.
Okay. It's worth a lot more than 15,000 pounds, whatever it is they're asking, right?
Right. Yeah. Now. She's not going to be around that much longer. She knows that, and the whole family knows it.
Yeah, who else? I think maybe you're planning on sticking around forever, huh?
That's true.
Yeah.
But anyway, what it is, we've got I've got the chance to put up the money to buy the house, the $32,000. Actually, I'm just putting up the money. My mother-in-law is buying it.
I understand that. They have to sell it to her. You can't step in, and she can't assign the rights to buy it.
Right, and she has to keep it for 2 years before she can resell.
Suppose she dies. in the 2-year period?
Then it would be handled by the will.
Well, no. What I'm trying to get to is if she dies in less than 2 years, can the property then be conveyed to her heirs?
Oh, yes, yes. Once that process is started, you know, she'll be paying. There'll be mortgage payments being paid on it during that time.
Yeah.
But once she has the control of it, she has to keep it for a minimum of the 2 years. You know.
I understand that. No, you're missing the question, Jim. And maybe I don't know if you know the answer to the question, and maybe you do. I want to know in the 2-year period, if she dies, do the rights get extinguished? Does it go back to the council, or does it go to her heirs?
It goes to the heirs.
You're sure of that?
Yes.
Okay.
My brother-in-law works for the city of Glasgow over there, and he's already checked into all this.
All right, fine. So what's the holdup here?
Now, to me, it's a good deal because I'm buying it for $32, hanging on to it for 2 years. The current market value, based on the houses across the street that have recently sold, is $90,000 to $95,000.
Sounds like a great idea. So what's the problem?
The problem is, how do I handle that financially? I've got a line of credit that extends that high.
You're going to have to.
Or should I get a second mortgage on my current house?
Oh, you're better off with a second mortgage because it's tax. There's tax advantage.
Exempt, yeah.
No, not exempt.
Well,
it's tax deductible.
Tax deductible, yeah. Or are there American mortgage companies that would handle?
No, not a deal like that. For a lot of reasons. First of all, American mortgage companies aren't going to go to Great Britain. Secondly, the numbers involved aren't all that large. Thirdly, there's a transparent. No, she has no income to speak of anyway.
Who?
Your mother-in-law.
No, well, she draws a pension from the city.
Yeah, but she's not going to be able to legitimately pay off a mortgage.
Excuse me?
She's not going to be able to legitimately pay off a mortgage on her income.
No.
Well, the answer, why don't you just borrow the money in your house and pay cash, put it in her name, but then then immediately you're going to have some kind of an arrangement with her in writing, and that will make you the sole beneficiary of this item.
Oh, this is already being worked on at this time.
Fine, then go for it.
Very good.
Go for it.
That was my question, Bruce.
Okay, kid.
And I think you're the greatest thing since sliced bread.
Oh, you're very kind.
Okay. Have a pleasant evening.
I shall indeed.
Okay, bye now.
I'm Bruce Williams. Stick around for more. We give you, we hope, is the very best of conversation radio. We call it Talknet. Our last caller wanted to buy some property in Scotland. Well, we have a call now from Wales, but it's Wales, Wisconsin. Hello there.
Hi, how are you?
I am just fine, thank you. What's happening?
I'm one of your younger listeners, and I have a small problem.
Let's talk.
And I am 18 years old, and I work as a waiter in a local restaurant.
Okay. How are tips?
What? Oh, they're really good.
Good.
Slowing down, but good. And my problem is, I got the job about 8 months ago or 9 months ago, and every paycheck they deduct from my uniform.
Yeah.
But my problem is I don't wear a uniform.
Why not?
Because I was one of their first waiters to come there.
Yeah.
And the waiters don't wear uniforms. And we just wear our own.
Well, wait a minute.
We wear our own clothes.
If they have no right to charge you for uniform unless they're providing it.
The only thing they gave me was a name tag. I wear black dress pants of my own.
Yeah.
White shirt of my own.
How much are they nicking you for this?
Well, this year it's been $60 so far.
If they provide you with a uniform and they require you to wear it, they can charge you for a reasonable cost.
Yeah.
But if you're getting nothing for, are you the only one they're doing this to, or others?
Well, we now have another couple. I was the first waiter. Now we have a couple more.
What, do you have mostly waitresses?
Yeah.
Wait persons is the hot stuff. Now, how about the girls? Are they getting uniforms provided for them?
My sister was a waitress there, and they give her a uniform. Blouse and dress.
But not the guys?
Not the guys.
Have you discussed this with your management people?
Yeah, and they gave their opinion on it, but...
What was their opinion?
Well, it's unfair that the girls get charged and the guys don't. And that the guys wouldn't.
Well, that's stupid. Tell them, fine, give me a pair of pants and a shirt and charge me.
I tried that, and they didn't like it. I said, well, give me a uniform. I haven't talked to the owner. I've only talked to my manager.
Well, you ought to talk to the owner and say, look, I'm a reasonable guy, but you can't charge me for what I don't get. If you want to provide me with a uniform, I'll be very happy to wear it. But if you don't provide me for a uniform, obviously you have no right to charge me for it. And I got a feeling that what's happened here is it just was easier to knock off so much for every person on the payroll.
Okay. Yeah, he didn't say anything about that.
Well, that's probably what it amounts to. They have some kind of a payroll system, probably an outside company that does it for them. You just knock off so much for every weight person. But that's stupid. They have no right to charge you for that. End of story.
Okay, thanks.
Now, you realize one thing. You make too much of a fuss, they're liable to fire you.
Yeah, that's what my brother told me.
Well, that's just bear it in mind. It's not a perfect world.
Okay.
Take good care.
Thanks for your opinion.
Okay.
Bye.
Boy, I'll tell you, they'll stop at nothing out there. Tomorrow between noon and 5:30, that's right, the 5th of December, we'll be here taking those calls of yours off the air, laying them on tape. I know it's the Christmas season, but bear in mind it'll be a whole ton easier for you to get through. So if you get busy, just get right on the phone, and we're going to zip off those calls as quickly as we can. Let's go down to Bakersfield, California. Hello.
Hello, Bruce.
Hi.
It's an honor to speak to you.
Aren't you sweet? Thank you.
Oh, I'm a first-time caller, and I got through immediately, and I'm so happy because I really need your advice for tonight.
We keep telling people it's a piece of cake.
Just keep pushing the buttons. Well, to get to my problem,
yes.
Maybe you can help me with a disagreement somewhat between my husband and myself, and
no,
that
husbands and wives are not never permitted to disagree. You know that.
Well,
what are you arguing about, kid?
Insurance, basically,
what kind of insurance?
Coverage, liability. My husband teaches at a private school.
Okay.
And periodically gives extra credit assignments, which involves the students going to private to shows or something that would benefit or supplement their studies.
Mm-hmm.
And in this instance, he wants to transport students to an out-of-town event.
Does he get paid for it?
No. Now
No, hold it. I mean, do the children pay for this ride?
No.
And they don't pay extra for that? And he doesn't get paid for it?
No, it's nothing that he's getting
paid
anymore for.
That's part of the mix. You realize that?
Pardon?
It is part of the mix, whether he is or is not getting paid.
I see. No, I didn't realize
that.
Well,
because if he charges, you may have one insurance problem. If he doesn't charge, there's another passenger in his car. It's another problem.
I see. But there are no charges involved.
There are no charges.
As far as him charging.
Yes,
I'm not sure that there aren't charges for them getting into the show.
Mm-hmm. But he's charging nothing for this. There's no consideration for the ride.
That's correct. He's simply providing a
And even if there wasn't a carpool arrangement, still your regular liability insurance is operative. How much does he carry?
We don't carry that much. Not what you... I've listened to umbrella policies, but we only have about $500,000.
Not enough.
That's what I thought.
Not enough.
Yeah, nothing. I would rather he didn't transport the students at all.
Mm-hmm. How old are the kids?
They're a high school age.
Mm.
He was willing to transport them, wants to transport them with a parental agreement.
Parental agreement is meaningless.
That's what, yeah.
It's meaningless. You can't give away the kids' rights.
Mm-hmm. So we should basically, in order to, if he wants to continue doing this, I understand umbrella policy?
An extra $1 million at least.
An extra $1 million?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
Sounds like a lot of money, but think about it this way. Suppose he had 4 kids in the car.
Right.
That's only a million, a little over $400,000 apiece based upon your $500,000 plus an extra $1 million.
Mm-hmm.
$400,000 doesn't go very far if somebody's maimed.
Yes.
Really doesn't. And you can bet your life and your firstborn child that they will sue.
That's exactly what I don't want to bet.
Not a question about that. They will sue.
That's right.
Right or wrong. That's the society that we're living in.
Well, you gave me the answer I expected, and I hope my husband is listening on me in the other room.
Yeah, I hate to be a wet blanket, but you have to think that way, unfortunately. I do wish you well, dear.
Thank you very much.
I'm Bruce Williams. Stick around for more, my friends. More Talknet. Don't miss the fun and prizes at WIBC's All or Nothing Breakfast Trivia tomorrow morning with Jeff Pigeon and the WIBC morning team. We go down to Southfield, Michigan. Hello there.
How you doing?
I'm doing just fine, thank you. What's happening?
Well, I give you a little background here. I own a car customization shop, and we do wholesale work for dealers.
Yeah.
I have a dealer that I've been working for about a year now, and we had a warranty claim come in on a car, and the salesperson gave me like a 2-hour notice to come on out and do this repair.
The salesperson?
Yeah, the salesperson called and said the customer was complaining.
Is that ordinarily where the what's the term I'm searching for? The authorization comes from sales?
Well, it's handled differently at every dealership, but in this particular case, most everyone that buys a car, if they have a problem, they call their salesperson first.
That's understandable, but is authorization to do something, generally that comes from a different department, I would think.
Well, again, it's
okay.
It really
that's their
depends
custom.
on the dealer.
All right, that's their custom here anyway. You're telling me this is the way they did it, right?
Okay.
Okay, go.
So what happened was he needed someone out that day, and because he only gave me a 2-hour notice, I was not able to do it. We had the day scheduled. And so anyway, make a long story short, I told him we could set up the appointment for another day, and he says, that's all right, I'll get it handled.
By someone else?
Obviously, that's what happened.
Okay.
Anyway, what they did is we had a check due to us this month for $400. When the check arrived, it was less $265. Supposedly the amount that another company came out and unauthorized by me did the warranty work. And
maybe I missed something altogether. Would you like to go back over this? Why would you be responsible?
Well, we provide a 1-year warranty on the product that we sell, and this product is in warranty.
Okay.
Now what
product do you sell?
We sell these. In this particular case, these are the stainless steel rocker panels that they put on the new cars to give the appearance of chrome.
All right.
And in this case, the molding had tarnished. The road salt and like the acid rain that we get up here, if there's not wax on the product, you can get a rust-colored stain.
Okay, but the guy went out, and you're supposed to service it instantly? I mean...
Well, I work with 40 dealerships. I haven't had a problem like this with any other dealership.
I believe in good service, but I don't know that they can call you at 1 o'clock and expect you to repair it at 3 o'clock.
That's about what I got.
So he's saying because you didn't do it instantly, and he was going to preserve this relationship with his customer, he went out and got it done right away.
Right.
What would it have cost you to do the job? Let's get this down to real dollars. It was $265 he knocked off.
Well, I'll be perfectly honest with you. I don't know what it would, in all repairs, we ask for a couple days notice.
Yeah, but beyond that, I want to know what your real loss is. Would you have had you'd had to do something? Let's establish something. You'd have probably had to do something here, right?
Until I saw the car, I wouldn't know exactly what was needed.
Then you can't answer the question then.
Well, let's suppose in his case he said there was a tarnish on the moldings. In most cases, I have a cleaner that will remove the tarnish.
Yeah.
What they did is they sent someone out who tore off the moldings and replaced them.
Mm-hmm.
In my mind, that's probably unnecessary.
Mm-hmm.
But the other company is, from what I know, is less experienced than I am in this particular field.
Well, we're back to the same thing. Suppose, let's take the best case and worst case scenario.
Okay.
Best case, you went out there and cleaned up the molding. What would that have cost? It would cost you something. Maybe it's only $1.
Labor, $35.
All right. So then the real loss, you said that they deducted what, $265?
Yeah.
So you got a $220 difference here. That's your real loss, isn't it?
Mm-hmm.
Boy. What do they say when you contact them about this?
They at this point in time, we'll get back with you.
That's all they say.
Mm-hmm.
Have you talked to anybody of any substance there? See, we're back to the same thing again. You caught me a little off guard, and that's why I asked you to repeat it. When you said the salesman, usually it's a service department or a warranty or somebody a little higher up than a salesman. Because salespeople, well, if it's not their money, go for it. Keep my customer relationship solid. May or may not be good policy, but certainly it's not one that most of us would be comfortable with in management. You'd want to have some kind of a second opinion or second signature or something, wouldn't you?
Well, I would think so. I talked to the office manager today, and she said that the salesman authorized it, allowing this to happen.
Yeah.
And she'd have to discuss it with him. Again, like in any other dealership, it would probably have to go through an owner or a manager.
I'd be down talking to the dealer, to the owner of the dealership, saying, I don't have any arrangement for instant service. Yeah, how long have you dealt with these folks?
About a year.
And how many warranty jobs have you done? How many jobs have you done with them during the course of the year?
Close to 100.
And how many of them have had service problems?
A couple, 2, 3. It hasn't. See what? Well,
I understand what you're saying.
A lot of it breaks down to they had a manager before who I dealt with and got along with very well.
Yeah.
Never had a problem.
Right.
They had a change of management. I've done very little business with them since.
Was that right? To what do you attribute this?
The new management really doesn't know how to treat their vendors.
Well, I wouldn't go back and tell them that.
Well,
because you're going to be treated with a key to the door.
Yeah, well, at this point in time, I'm looking for an alternative to a small claims court, and I was wondering if you can help me with any ideas.
Well, first of all, you really haven't gone and negotiated with anybody, as I see it, up until now. You called the telephone, we'll get back to you. I mean, that certainly isn't exhausting all remedies. I go down and talk to the owner of the dealership.
Okay.
Say, here's my problem. I want to continue to work with you guys, but I don't think it's reasonable to expect me to pop out here in 20 minutes. And furthermore, we've been having a little bit of a difficulty with communication. Let's get all these things on the table and maybe get them straightened out to our mutual advantage. But you're not going to do that on the telephone, my friend. That's eyeball to eyeball. I do wish you well.
All right, thanks.
Hang in there. That's, personally, if I got to deliver bad news, if I got to say, Stacy, your history, you depend on, I'm going to look her right in her baby blue eyes. I'm not going to do it with a memo. I'm not going to do it on a telephone. I'm not going to do it with an intermediary. And when I want to deliver a message, and I'm having a problem with somebody, you can depend on it. Bet your firstborn child I'm going to be there in person. I'm Bruce Williams. This is Talknet. Off we go to Cleveland, Ohio, of course. Hello there.
Hello there, Bruce. How are you?
I am just fine, thank you. What's on your mind?
Well, my wife and I are going to have a 25th anniversary cruise.
Oh, good. You going with me?
Well, I don't know. I'm going to be down in the Caribbean. We're leaving Sunday morning.
Well, you're not going with me then, because I don't leave till May.
Oh, well, this is something we've always dreamed of.
So where are you going from, San Juan?
Yes, we're leaving from San Juan south to several islands.
Give me the itinerary.
Okay. San Juan to Martinique.
Yep.
To Barbados.
Yep.
To Antigua.
Yep.
To St. Martin.
Yep.
To St. Thomas.
Okay. You're staying on the Greater Antilles. You're not going way down island.
That is correct.
Go ahead.
At any rate, we planned this for quite a while. It's been booked for 7 months. I've been satisfied with everything so far, except when I received my itinerary, specifically the flight on a return home from San Juan to Cleveland.
Yeah, what's the problem?
And maybe I'm a little out of line. I don't know.
What's your gripe?
Okay, my gripe is I have to be off the ship at 9:30 a.m.
Yeah.
And my flight from San Juan does not leave until 5:10 in the afternoon.
So what's wrong with that?
Well, that's 7 hours and 40 minutes. I do not arrive home in Cleveland until 10:30 p.m., which is 13 hours after.
So what?
Well, I kind of think that's a little long. I have requested...
Well, boy, I think it's short myself, but that's another program.
Well, that's what I want. Maybe.
Well, I see.
Maybe it is. What I requested was a day room.
Not from them.
From them.
Oh, they're not going to give it to you.
Well,
but there's no reason why you can't get one. Pay for it, which I have done.
You have done?
Yes, sir. Right, you're going to be down there in Old San Juan.
Correct.
And right up the street is the Caribe Hilton.
Sounds terrific.
The Caribe is the closest major hotel. Now, maybe that's unkind because you have El Convento and a couple of others down there, but they're not on the beach. But the Caribe has a nice pool complex and so forth, and I have done exactly what you're talking about. Checked off the ship, gone down to the Caribe, rented a room, maybe for 4 or 5 or 6 or 10 of us. You know, one room, a lot of towels, throw somebody $20, they'll load it up with towels, and you use that for a base of operation, go swimming for the day. Or, alternatively, have you been to San Juan before?
I have not.
Well, then I think you're crazy going to the room. Let's start with that. You could go out and do a tour for 4 or 5 hours. Check your stuff.
At the airport.
You can check it at the airport, at a hotel. Go in and talk to the head bellman at any major hotel. Give him $15, $20. He'll take care of your stuff for you. I spend your money like it was trash. You notice that. And then you want to go out to, if it were me, right? And
right.
San Juan is one of my favorite places. I would certainly go out to El Morro.
El Morro?
Yes, Morro Castle. It's a National Park Service site. You can spend a couple of hours at the castle, okay?
Yes.
Going through that. You're getting off the ship at 9:30. Trust me, 11 o'clock you'll still be running around. You won't be off at 9:30. Clearing customs and the rest of that stuff. All right?
All right.
You go out, get rid of your stuff. I don't care how you manage that. If it were me, my inclination would be to go to one of the major hotels and make a deal with the head bellman.
Sounds like a good idea.
They'll put it into their baggage room. You give them 10 or 20, whatever you think you're comfortable with. All right.
Right.
You can say he'll give you a check. He'll give you a receipt if you want it. You can tell him you're checking in later. If you just aren't ready to check in yet.
Gotcha.
Then you're going to be right down there in your old San Juan. You can jump in a cab and go out to Morro Castle. Okay. That'll kill some time till about 2 or 3 o'clock, or 2 o'clock anyway, something in that order. If you like, on the way back, you can stop at the yacht club for a bite to eat. There are any number of good restaurants. I'm trying to think what
yacht club?
There's a yacht club right down by right around the corner from the Caribe. It's a private yacht club, but you can use the dining room. I think they're open on Sunday afternoon. They certainly open in the evening. I'm not sure about the afternoons, very candidly. But there are any number of decent restaurants that you can go to. And for a matter of fact, forget what I said, okay?
Forget what
I said. Go to the castle out there, okay?
Yes.
And then maybe you want to have lunch over at El Convento, which is also in Old San Juan. It's an old convent that's been made into a hotel. It's kind of picturesque. They have an open courtyard and whatever. It's nothing sensational in my point from where I'm sitting, but it ain't bad. You're going to have some black bean soup and something to eat. You might enjoy that.
I think my wife would probably love it.
And then you can hop out to the airport. You should be out there an hour and a half before plane time, because you're going to find it's a zoo on Sunday night getting out of the airport. You got to go through agricultural inspection and all that sort of thing, which is kind of a nuisance.
Yes.
And having the day in San Juan, if I were you, I'd be complaining I was leaving too early.
Well, I guess my concern was that I booked it in such advance. I wanted an earlier flight back for some convenient reasons, but being that...
Hey, you're that far from home. You've never been there before, my goodness. Take a ride. Or, if in the alternative, you could rent a car. And you don't have to check your stuff. Put your stuff in the trunk of the car. Don't leave it anyplace else.
Right.
In the trunk of the car. You can drive over you can pick up a car right on the docks there, or at one of the major hotels, right?
Yeah.
You can drive over to Morro Castle, and then maybe have some lunch and drive out to El Yunque, which is the rainforest, which is out past the airport. Or the alternative is you can go out to the Isla Verde section and keep on going, and there's some beaches that you can visit during the day with your car, and then just drop the car at the airport when you're done.
Well, you've given me some good ideas, Bruce.
And that way you don't have to worry about checking your bags either, right?
That's what I'm kind of most concerned about, right. Checking my bag.
Put them right in the trunk of the car. Get a rental car, you can run out to, as I said, to Morro Castle. Old San Juan is closed on Sunday for all intents and purposes, which is something it's a shame you're missing, because there's a lot of good shopping there and that kind of stuff. You can run out to El Yunque, go get a good decent meal, park the car, and have a nice trip home. I wish you well, kid.
Thank you.
I'm Bruce Williams. Stick around. This is Talknet. Sioux Falls, South Dakota. Hello there.
Hi, Bruce.
How you doing, kid?
Well, pretty good. See, I got a problem with a snowblower.
You do?
Yes.
Is it blowing snow?
Well, it wasn't. It wouldn't run.
Uh-huh.
I could squirt gas in the carburetor and it would run just fine.
But that's terrific. As long as you can follow along with a little tomato can pouring gas, then you can blow the heck out of the snow, right?
Right.
Yeah, terrific.
So anyway, I called the local shop down here that, handles that brand of snowblower, and asked them, what it would cost to overhaul the carburetor.
Right.
They quoted me $35.
Yeah.
So I said, okay, I'll bring it in. So I brought it in last week, Wednesday. And they said, well, it'll be a few days. They try and get at it by Friday.
All right.
And so I came in.
Are you guys having much snow right now?
Well, not right now. Everything was pretty much south of us. So we kind of...
No, I was just wondering if this is an emergency, that kind of thing.
Well, no, not really.
All right.
Not really. It's just kind of a financial bind they put me in because, I planned on,
Because you just take too much of the business away.
Well, but
that's a fact.
But
I want you to hold on. I know you don't like these answers. I've got to get some business done. I'll get back to you. I'm Bruce Williams. This is Talknet. I'm chatting with a gentleman in Elizabeth, Pennsylvania. He's an unhappy camper. I understand that. You're saying you're trying to break in. You want to be legit and so forth, right?
Bruce, I'm on the phone.
Pardon?
Bruce?
Yeah.
I'm calling from Fort Erie, Canada, but I didn't get interviewed. I just got through and heard you talking.
Well, I think what happened is that the fellow I was talking to dropped out. I'm not sure quite how that happened. But I just want to, I have a couple things. Put this gentleman on hold. He's calling from Canada online, too, and you can get him back. For my friend in Elizabeth, Pennsylvania, who is not happy, I can understand that. But think about this. If you open up a discount store, there are a lot of major labels that simply will not sell to you. They don't want their label prostituted, being sold in bargain basements. Now, that's a matter of fact. Simple as that. There are a lot of distributors, a lot of people that manufacture products that don't want their stuff discounted. And that's a matter of fact. No, it's just a matter of fact. He doesn't like that very much. And there are a lot of, quote, legitimate merchants who will tell manufacturers, distributors, wholesalers, and whatever, you're going to have to make a choice. If you're going to sell to the guy who's, let's take it, well, I don't want to get into specific enterprises, but if you're going to sell to that fellow, then it's okay, you have a right to do that, but then you're not going to get any business from me. And I'm there 12 months a year. That's the fact of life. And the answer is, why fight it? Open up a legitimate retail store. Get into the sporting goods business, the fishing business, and so forth, and then, hey, you're part of the establishment. Indianapolis, Indiana. Hello there.
Hello, Bruce.
How are you?
I'm wonderful. How are you?
Everything is cool. Can I do something for you?
Yeah, you can. You can help an old fool who made a mistake once stop from making another one.
Only one mistake in your whole life?
One I'll own up to.
Okay, there you go.
Okay. We did what many other people did 15 or so years ago.
What you did?
We went down and bought property in Florida.
What's so terrible about that?
Well,
I wish I had. I wish I bought it 50 years ago instead of paying today's prices.
Anyway, we've held on to it.
All right, let's back up a little bit now.
Yeah, okay.
Because I see a little music going to start in about 1 second. But here's what I want to know. When you say you bought property, I must assume you mean undeveloped property. So let's get kind of a handle on things. We get back together, we'll tighten the knot. I'm Bruce Williams. This is Talknet. Tomorrow, we're going to be here between noon and 5:30, and I really hope you'll kind of join me. It's the holiday season. A lot of folks will be out shopping and whatever, so it will be very simple to get through. The number, of course, 800-TALKNET. Between noon and 5:30 Eastern Standard Time. Putting those calls on tape for the usual reasons allows me to travel. Chat with a lady in Indianapolis, and she bought some real estate in Florida, right?
Right.
About 15 years ago. Would you buy an undeveloped lot of some kind?
Oh, yes. 2 or 3 of them.
All right. What did you pay for them then?
Oh, I want to say about $7,000 a piece.
All right. And are they now in an area that is developed, or is it still undeveloped?
Well, one of them is undeveloped. The other one is in a developed area because I'm getting school taxes and all this, that, and the other
Well,
thing.
but that doesn't necessarily mean it's in a developed area, dear. What I want to know is there a street in there now? Is there water and sewer? Can you build on it right now?
I have to tell you, I have not been down there to look at it, but I assume they're in because I'm paying sewer tax and...
Okay. Well, that's a valid assumption.
Yeah, okay. My husband is here hollering yes. Okay. Yeah, there are homes there. I do know that in the development.
Then the chances are that how about you paid $7, probably worth more than it was then.
Yeah, well, I'm sure it is because for about the past year and a half, ever since they started with the school taxes and the water taxes and this, that, and the other, the improvement taxes and everything.
You just have to tell Papa Bear to calm down. Never mind. If he wants to talk, I'll be glad to talk to him, but I can't talk to you both.
Okay. Anyway, we have started getting progressively more letters on, do list your property, do you want to sell?
Oh, of course. That's legitimate.
Within the past month, I have had phone calls and letters saying, let us list your property with overseas people. They have the money.
Well, that's a ploy.
$359, and they'll list it for a year, and we can sell it for $60,000. I hear you.
Forget it. You say I'll give you $360 when the sale takes place.
Well, I just had a phone call tonight, and the fellow got real nasty with me.
No.
Because I wouldn't list it, and I said, hey, I listened to Bruce Williams. I'll talk to him, and then I'll give you my answer.
What did he say to that? He said, who the hell is Bruce Williams?
I said, my husband is out of town. Call me on Monday, and we'll give you a decision.
He said?
But I just, to me, that doesn't sound...
No, first of all, I think you were floundering around in a huge vacuum of ignorance here, and that's not a good place to be. Now, you got 3 lots down there, right?
Right.
Why don't you said you haven't seen them in all this time.
I know it.
Well, no, wait a while. I'm being very serious now.
I know you are.
Get on an airplane. And go down.
We go down twice a year. Isn't that awful?
And you still haven't seen them?
No, because I hate to, my husband has, but I hate to take my beach time off.
Oh, poor baby.
I know, but that's the only time I get to relax, Bruce. That and when I listen to you from 4 to 5 in the morning here in Indianapolis.
I mean, you're going to miss all that sun and cancer, right? Cut me a break. Now,
at my age, I'm going to die for something.
We're all going to die of something, sweetheart. But the point being that before you decide that you want to sell or if you want to sell, you owe it to yourself
to go and look at it.
To A, look at it, and B, do a little research. You're going to have to find out what those lots have been selling for. And and if you can't tear yourself off the sand, first of all, it's going to rain sooner or later in Florida. Pick a rainy day, and then go over and hire an appraiser and get some info for $100 or $200. Find out what because he or she will know right at the top of their head what comparables are, and find out what those lots are selling for these days.
Well, I knew that's what you were going to tell me, but I just had to call and make the...
You're looking for the easy way. That's what you want, huh?
Well, I trust you next to Jesus Christ.
Oh, slow
I
down.
trust you more than anybody.
My goodness, I'm delighted, but slow down. What part of Florida are these lots in?
One of them's right near Disney World, and the other one is in the southern part of the state.
How far south? Here he goes again. I hear that so-and-so.
In the background.
Yep.
He's from Brooklyn. Come on, he doesn't know how to whisper.
What can I say? No, I really think...
I take your advice. I'm going down in May, and I will go and check them both out.
Go take a look at them. In the meantime, what you could do, if you really want to do it long range, is call the Chamber of Commerce in any one of those communities and ask if they can give you the names of 2 or 3 licensed real estate appraisers. Call them and tell them what your situation is, and tell them you want to spend, a couple of bucks to find out what, in their best opinion, those lots would sell for if they're on the market today.
Very good. Well, I've been offered anywhere from 10 to 60 for them, and to me that's ridiculous.
Well, of course.
Come on now.
And that's the problem. You see, we don't know what it's worth. And that's why I want to spend a couple $100 of your money to find out. That's all.
I'll do it, my dear, and thank you so much.
You got a deal.
Okay, Bruce.
Go get him, Snowbird.
Hey, I'll let you know what I find out.
I would appreciate that.
Okay,
and
Bruce.
Calm the old man down here. He sounds like he's going to have a problem. I'm Bruce Williams. Stick around for more, kids. You've got what we hope is the very best of conversation radio. We call it Talknet. Off we go now to Atlanta. GA, it's your turn. Hello there.
Hi, Bruce.
Hello, baby. What's on your mind?
Well, I have a question. A friend and I decided to rent a house together. she works 2 jobs, so she instructed me to find a house and secure it for us, which I did this weekend.
She instructed you?
Yes, that was my job.
Okay.
And she was just going to move in.
You have your assignment.
Yes, which I completed. I saw a house that I really liked. The landlord did not want to rent it to me because a family had already been by twice to see it, and they were coming by a 3rd time that afternoon, which I took 2 hours to convince him he should rent it to me instead.
You sound like you're quite a sales lady.
I was. I did the sales job of my life, unfortunately.
Unfortunately?
Yes, because then I gave him a check for $1,000 for the first month rent and $1,000 security deposit.
Total of $2,000.
Correct.
You're really committed now.
I wanted that house. And I called my friend to tell her of our good fortune, and then she tells me she has a job offer in another town, which she's going to take. So first thing Monday...
How lucky you are.
I'm telling you. And so I put a stop on the check first thing Monday morning.
Holy.
And they couldn't guarantee anything for 24 hours, but I called today and they said the check had not gone through. So I feel bad. Morally, I don't know if I should offer some money because
Well, slow down.
All right.
First of all, you signed a lease, didn't you?
No, he did not have the lease there. His wife had to type in the dates.
You got lucky there.
Thank goodness, yes.
But I'm not sure you have the right to stop. Well, you have the right to stop the check, but that doesn't mean that he doesn't have an action against you, particularly since you, by your own admission, talked him out of renting to somebody who is willing, able, and ready and whatever.
Correct.
But is there not another alternative here?
Well, I called all the friends that I have that don't already have their own homes, that live in apartments, and they're in the midst of leases.
Mm-hmm. And that isn't an alternative. Well, unless you go outside your circle of friends.
Which I've done that before, and it did not work out real well.
Mm-hmm. Well, you see, there was a contract here. I'm not an attorney, you realize that.
Yes.
There was a contract here between you and these folks. They have a responsibility to what's called mitigate their losses. It means they got to try to rent the place. Now, what you might want to do is see if they can get hold of this family that's so hot to trot before.
Right.
And see if they're still available. And yes, do I think that they're deserving of something? Of course they are.
Mm-hmm.
Don't you think so?
I guess.
You don't want to hear that.
No. So, I have not contacted them yet to tell them about that. I was waiting to hear what you said first.
Well, I'd give them a call. I mean, why they're not going to be happy campers when they get that letter in the mail from the bank saying the payment's been stopped. Here's the paper back.
Right.
I would get on the phone because every day that goes past, every hour, somebody else liable to call from their previous advertising. You want to rent the place.
Right.
Take you both off the hook.
Okay, so I should give them a
I'd
call.
call them after you hang up for me. I'll call them right now. When did you look at the house, was it?
This past weekend, 3 days ago.
And here we are. This is Tuesday night. When did you find out about friend-girlfriend?
Sunday night, but I had to wait to put the stop first and then make sure the 24 hours were up so that the check did not clear. I was going to protect myself.
Well, you may have outfoxed yourself because on Monday morning he might have been able to call those people.
Right.
You could have put the stop in just as quickly on Monday with, been down there in the bank personally. He might have been able to call the other people and then solve the problem.
Right.
I'd get on the phone with him, though.
And just tell them I put the stop on and I'm not moving in?
Yeah, and say, listen, what can I do to help you get hold of this family or somebody else? Let's get this job done. I'll pay for the new ad and so forth. When does your tenancy begin?
December 15th.
Wow. Get on it right away.
All right. Thank you, Bruce. I do appreciate it.
Take good care.
Thanks. Bob.
But yeah, when you sign a contract or you imply a contract, you may have some problems. I'm Bruce Williams. This is Talknet. We go down to Springfield, Ohio. It's your turn. Hello there.
Hi, Bruce.
How you doing, kid?
All right. I got a little problem in the footwear department.
Hey, when you wear a size 16, that happens.
Yeah. I went out and purchased a pair of
like the high sports shoes that they have now.
You mean the kind that cost about $150 a pair?
Bingo.
Boy, you got to be kidding me. I mean, I spring for $6. I think I've gone to big time.
Well, you know what? Back when I was 15, 16 years old, that was about the status quo then.
What, the $6 or $150?
That's $6.
You know, seriously, it looks like the kids are wearing all these expensive things, and the old man is wearing the $6 shoes.
Really? Anyhow, the shoes had cost me $75. I purchased them in September. And I wore them for probably, like on the weekends or something like that. Not real hard wear either.
Just warm a little old lady going to church.
Yeah. Anyway, the toe ripped out of one, and I take the receipt and the canceled check and everything back out to the store and talked to one of the salespeople and told him what happened. He said the manager's not in today. He said, but I'll kind of mention it to him and, see what we can do for you. He said he's going to be in I went out on a Monday and he said he's going to be in Wednesday. So I went on Wednesday and I talked to the manager and I told him about my problem and he said, we don't have that particular style of shoe left anymore. He said, but I got these $50 jobs over here I'm, more than willing to give you, to replace them. He said, of course, I guess they're going to do like they do on a pair of tires. They're going to prorate them. But there wasn't that much wear on them.
He's willing to give you a $50 pair, brand new, and you have the $75 pair.
Yeah.
I don't think that's unreasonable, to tell you the truth.
Really?
No. I mean, I don't know the circumstances here. Everybody, when you talk to the customer, there's nowhere.
Yeah.
And then when you talk to the merchant, my God, the guy, the truth is probably someplace in between.
Yeah.
But since he doesn't have those in stock or they don't make them anymore, or whatever, and he's willing to give you a brand new pair, I don't think that's terribly unreasonable to you.
Well, like I said, after only a couple of months wear, it just kind of ticked me off. $25 difference in the shoes. I think it was that principle more than anything.
Suppose he told you they were $75. Would you have known the difference?
Probably not.
There you go.
But it's like I said, back when I was growing up, I'm 31 years old, and back when I was growing up, 15, 16 years old, you got only $12 out for a pair of canvas high tops. And you could wear the things to death.
Well, but isn't there a message there?
Yeah.
Isn't there a message there? I've heard, because trust me when I tell you, I don't buy them.
Yeah.
And I guess I'm able to. $1.50 for a pair of sneakers.
Yeah.
You can now they have them. You can blow them up.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah. Pump this up.
Yeah. You gotta be kidding me.
You look at the prices on them.
Well, I think the prices are outrageous, and people are chumps to pay for it. But if they want to pay for it, that's their business.
Yeah. And like I said, I think it was just a thing of the price difference in them.
Well, the alternative is to write to the manufacturer and say you'd like them replaced.
Yeah.
You could do that.
Yeah.
And very well, possibly they will do that for you.
Yeah. Well, like I said, I think if it hadn't been the point that I only wore them for such a short time.
I see it's very possible that they may be just a manufacturer's defect here.
Mm-hmm.
And the guy's just trying to find the easy way out. He doesn't want any grief, which is not unreasonable. But if you want to pursue it, by all means, drop a note to the manufacturer.
Well,
and see what they have to say.
You're pretty level-headed on all your thoughts, and I enjoy your conversations with the people. It's real good listening to you.
Well, thank you. I appreciate that.
And I just, I guess I never really explored that, that end of it.
Listen, but I'll tell you what I want you to do now. I want you to go counterculture.
Mm-hmm.
Go buy a $6 pair of sneakers.
Yeah, the high tops that I used to wear.
There you go.
You can't get the good ones anymore. Thanks a lot.
I wish you well, kid.
Bye.
I bought a pair of sneakers, tennis shoes, whatever. And the reason I bought the $6 pair was because that's all I could find that day. And I was going on a cruise, as a matter of fact. And it was not too terribly long. My anniversary, as I mentioned, is tomorrow when I cracked up my airplane. And this cruise was, a year later maybe, and I just really begun to walk moderately well. It wasn't even that long, because I was on a cane. And I determined I was going to go to, where was it? Jamaica. And I was going to walk up that waterfall down there. It's a big tourist thing, but you walk up a waterfall to prove that I could walk again. Cane and all up the waterfall. But you had to wear sneakers. I wasn't about to wear a good pair of shoes underwater. And I bought these $5 or $6 sneakers, which are still in my closet to this day. I'm still wearing the doggone things. Sure. Well, it's not that I'm cheap. I'm just careful. I'm Bruce Williams. Stick around. This is Talknet. We go to Charleston, West VA. Your turn. Hello.
Hello, Bruce.
Yes, sir.
I've got a unique problem, perhaps. I live on an island in the middle of a river.
Do you? How nice. That must be quite a interesting place.
It is. We've lived there 17 years.
What do you do for utilities? Like?
Well, we have power, electric power, and then we have a well for water and septic tank and all that.
Thank you, sir.
I have an 86 car that has 26,000 miles on it. It was bought in July of 86, so it's still under the 5-year pollution warranty thing. And I have some kind of a leak in the gasoline tank, somewhere from near the top of the gasoline tank.
A leak in the tank?
Yeah, you smell the gasoline, and the dealer that I took it to of the make of car said that they saw streaks of gasoline, evidence of spilling gasoline coming down the side of the tank. So they said that they could lower the tank and resolder it for $145. And then I talked to a friend of mine, and he said, well, that should be covered under the 50,000-mile pollution control system warranty.
Should? What would that be?
What would what be?
Why would that be? Under what? How would that?
Apparently, these cars are, under a government rule, have to have the pollution control. That is, the fuel system has to be is protected for 50,000 miles or 5 years.
Yeah, but is that is the tank as well? Yes. I could see where it would cover the cat converter and all that kind of stuff. You're saying yes. I mean, do you know that for a fact, or is
no? I told that anything that the fuel. Oh yes, I've been in touch with the EPA. And they tell me that it should be covered because it is supposed to be a sealed system, and fumes from the tank or from any part of the fuel system are not supposed to get into the atmosphere.
All right, fine. Well, what does the dealer say about that?
Oh, well, so then I took it back to the dealer, and then they said, there are 3 vents on the top of the tank. This is their story. 2 main ones and 1 small one, and if it's either one of the main vents, well, yes, I am indeed covered. But if it's a small vent, well, then I'm not covered.
Why is there a difference?
You got me.
Well, you got me too. When you asked them why is there a difference, what did they say?
They didn't. They said it's just not covered. They have a computer apparently that tells them what is covered and what is not covered. And apparently the small vent is not covered. But in speaking to the EPA in Washington, D.C., they say that any time that any of the fumes are escaping, the thing is covered, and that's a defect. So at any rate, here's my dilemma. They now tell me that to replace the tank is $300 plus $150 labor.
What happened to the solder job?
Yeah, that went out the window all of a sudden. I don't know where that went. And my local dealer, a car garage, says that he can replace it for $170 for a tank and about $50 for labor. However, the EPA says that if the dealer if the dealer says that they will not honor the warranty, then I should send the bill to the EPA, and they assure me that they have a very good chance of getting the money back, $450. However, I can go to the dealer and get it done for $230 or somewhere around there.
No, you mean the other mechanic?
The mechanic, the mechanic. But they say then there's very little chance of getting it back because there's no they're not sure then that it was a genuine leak.
Well, so we got a choice here. Do you shoot crap?
That's the point.
Well, I don't know. Are you a gambler?
I'm asking your opinion whether you trust the EPA.
Well, no, you see, you're asking me if I trust government, and you know the answer to that.
Well.
Do I trust government? Yeah, about as far as I could pitch it.
Yeah, okay. Well, she's a very nice lady. I got on the phone.
I'm sure she's a nice lady, and I'm sure she's well-intentioned, and may well be she can bring it off. I mean, I'm way out of my element here.
Yeah.
But you're asking me if I trust bureaucrats. And the answer is no. And there are certain exceptions to that. Would I shoot dice? Probably yes.
You would, huh?
Well, I'm a gambler, understand that. I'm a guy that'll bet on 2 flies across the wall, odd and even license plates, red or black cards.
How about water running down a window pane? Well,
no, I'd be careful with that because you're the kind of guy that have a little wax out there.
That's right.
Yeah, you see? I know how you think.
Well, so what do you think?
I think if you really believe this individual can do what she says, I'd probably shoot dice.
Okay.
But I mean, I'm perplexed as to what their position is on the vents. But then we're not going to settle out here.
No, and I can't do it either because I haven't seen the tank down. You have to take the tank down to see the doggone vent.
Indeed.
Okay.
Good luck, kid.
I appreciate it.
Listen, aren't you glad it happened at least before June? Otherwise, you wouldn't have this dilemma.
It's going to happen tomorrow morning.
No, but I said, aren't you glad it happened before June? Otherwise, you wouldn't have a dilemma.
Why?
Because you'd be over the 5 years.
Oh, no, it's July.
Well, okay, July.
Oh, yeah, you're right. Oh, yeah, I'm very lucky in that respect.
Take good care, kid.
All right, thanks.
I had a very, very pleasant young man. I had dinner with him. His name is Jim. He's a mayor in Pennsylvania. I don't know if you want me to identify him on the air. Really a nice young man. We had dinner the other night in Pennsylvania, and he stood up in the audience. He said, as a former politician, what advice would you give a mayor or a politician now? You know, I thought about that subsequent. That I have a better answer than I gave him. I think the answer would be twofold. One, if you're a councilman or a mayor or a state legislator, or indeed you're in the Congress, before you vote on any law, really ask yourself, do we really need this law? Because a lot of times the answer is going to be no. And the second thing would be, how about a 4 for 3 rule? For every 4 laws you pass, you got to repeal 3. Now, I think if you're diligent and you look through the books, there's a lot of garbage out there that doesn't need to be there, it's unnecessary, and it's burdensome. Now, you see, Stacy's looking at me like I have a third head, but you see, she doesn't understand government because she's a child. I've been involved in this thing for a long time. I was involved, and I passed a lot of laws. A lot of them were so terribly unnecessary and they're onerous that we just don't need that much government. We truly do not. Wouldn't it be nice if you had... I'm in favor of the sunset law. Every law should be reviewed every couple of years. I am very much opposed to the sunshine law, where public meetings have to be held in public. Politicians should be able to go in the back room and get full of smoke and whack out deals. Why? Because in these public meetings, they're just constantly playing to the press. We're having a war now playing to the press, which is patently absurd. You can't have a war and the press have full access. I mean, Hussein gets more information now from CNN than he gets from his intelligence service. There's something wrong with that. Wouldn't it be nice if we just repealed 3 laws for every 4, I beg your pardon, repeal 4 for every 3 we pass? There'd be an attrition there which I think we'd all benefit from. Or so it seems to me, Bruce Williams, on Talknet. Let's go to the land of Mickey and Minnie and the rest of those crazy characters. Orlando, Florida. Hello there.
Hi, Bruce.
Hello.
How are you doing?
I am real well, thank you.
I want to tell you, I've only listened to your program for about a week and a half now, and I really enjoy it, and I've learned a lot.
Well, thank you. We're very happy to have you. How'd you happen to find us? Tell me.
Well, it was just by mistake, actually. My stereo was turned on AM, and I heard someone the talking, and I said, and I'm in the process of moving. And I guess that's how it all started.
Well, son of a gun, WDBO is pleased to have a new listener, and I'm very happy to have you with me. What can I do for you?
Okay, first of all, when I moved into this condo, I had to pay a $400 security deposit.
Well, that's not unusual.
Right, I know that, but to me, it's a lot of money.
Sure.
And in a way, what I did, I feel in a way, it's kind of wrong.
Okay.
But what I did is, it's my last month here. Mm-hmm. My lease is up. I sent a notice to my landlord asking him to apply the security deposit toward the last month's rent.
You're absolutely right. That's wrong.
Okay.
The reason being the security deposit is there.
Cannot be used. Okay, I know all that.
It's there to see that, you perform properly and so on. So Okay, go ahead.
What I need to know is, can he guarantee my wages because he's been calling me at work?
Can he garnish you mean?
Whatever. I don't know that much about it.
That's right. His hand in your pocket is what you want to know. The chances are the answer is no. Now, what's your first name?
It's Jane.
Jane. Now, how long have you been in this apartment?
A year.
Objectively, as you're able to answer, is the apartment in good condition as when you got there?
I had to paint when I moved in here, before I even moved in.
Okay.
It was not painted. I came in here before I ever moved in. It took 3 days to paint.
Okay. How about the rugs and that kind of stuff?
I'm going to have it cleaned before I even leave.
All right. So what I'm trying to get to is that in your best unbiased opinion, and I realize that it can't be completely unbiased, would he have any grounds for saying that he has a claim on you for?
No, because I'm going to do my best to leave it in very good condition.
Have you talked to the guy?
Yes,
And
but
what's he
all
say?
he's doing is threatening me. He's saying that I'm living here free.
Well, it's not true.
I know, and
What you say to him is, look, Mr. So-and-so, I'm going to cooperate every way I can. Because let's face it, you're moving out the 1st of February?
well, I was going to move out last weekend.
Forget about that. You're moving out, we're talking about the 1st of
Right,
February.
I'm going to be out, yes.
All right, then he has got a totally empty water pistol. Nothing he can do to you at this point. I mean, the month is gone. By the time he got to court and whatever, it's over. The month.
Yeah, see, everybody's told me that nobody sues when it's your last month's
Well,
leave.
that is not true.
Well, or
But
hardly
you
anyone.
call the guy and say, look, I realize what I did was rubbing against your grain, and I can appreciate that, but frankly, I'm just Tap City. But I have painted the apartment when I got here. I am cleaning the rugs, and I'm sure you're going to find the place will be spick and span and ready to rent. And if you need to show the apartment to somebody before the 1st of the month, I'll work with you on that. If that doesn't mollify him, don't worry about
But I want to do the right thing. I wasn't out to...
I understand that. I do as I described, Jane, and I'm so pleased to have you with us.
All right, well, thank you.
I'm Bruce Williams for Talknet, the WIBC Morning Team. Mount Clemens, Michigan, it's your turn on Talknet. Yeah.
I own a tow dolly, or me and my friend own a tow dolly, for cars to tow cars with.
Yeah.
And I was wondering, we rent it out every now and then, and I was wondering if, you know what the question is?
I don't have to know what the question is. I don't know what your question is, but I know I'd be nervous if I was doing what you're doing. You know why?
The liability.
You bet your life. What happens if a bolt shears somebody, that car goes crazy and wipes out a half a dozen people? I wouldn't even consider doing something like that. See, if you're in the tool rental business and you had a general liability policy, that'd be a different matter. Why do you suppose these guys have to pay so much when they start renting out chainsaws and anything that can cause damage to the public?
Okay. That's what I was.
I wouldn't do that for a moment.
Is there any type of waiver I could have the people sign?
All right, let's examine that now.
Okay.
All right. They sign a waiver, right? And then the thing breaks loose and wipes out Stacy in there.
Okay.
What's that waiver got to do with her? She looks at you and you got the deepest pockets. You own that thing.
Okay.
You think that waiver's going to affect her ability to sue you? Now, you can get what's called a hold harmless. Well, what good is it if the other guy hasn't got any assets?
Oh, bad idea then.
You see where I'm coming from?
Yes, I do.
They could say, sure, we'll be responsible. We'll take care of everything.
Yeah.
But the cold realities are that doesn't excuse you in the slightest. And if they don't have the ability, they didn't have the willingness, not the ability, you're on a hook.
Yeah.
No, I wouldn't. How much can you get for this thing?
Oh, we only get like $30 when we rent it out. It's not a whole lot of money.
I wouldn't do that. I think you're putting yourself in. What business are you in? You're in the garage business?
No, it's me and a friend bought it because every now and then we'll buy an older car.
No. I say your garage liability, if you own a garage, might cover. I don't know that. But clearly, as an individual,
the homeowner's policy or anything like that wouldn't even have anything to do with it.
of course not. It's a business venture. Homeowners have nothing to do with that.
Yeah.
Nothing, whatever.
Oh, thanks a lot, Bruce. Another question while you're on the phone.
Sure.
I'm pretty young. I'm 24, and I just purchased a house. The basement has an apartment in it, and I was wanting to rent it out. Is there anything hidden that I might want to look for?
Well, first of all, does the zoning allow for two-family use?
Yes, it does.
You're certain?
There's two family dwelling homes in the area.
That doesn't mean a thing.
No?
No, sir. It really doesn't. The fact that they are there, it could be a couple of things. They could be what's called non-conforming uses. They could have been there before the zoning was changed or put into effect. It could be they're illegal. There's a lot of things. It could be there, the zone line is right next door to you. I mean, there's a lot. First of all, you got to find out the zoning allows this. That's the first thing. Okay. I'm not going to tell you you're not going to violate the law, but find out if the zoning allows it.
Okay.
then you want to make certain that your insurance allows you, your present homeowners, to rent an apartment in your home. It may not. You may have to pay an additional premium. By all means, check with your insurance broker.
Okay.
And finally, of course, you're going to want some kind of a lease with the individual that you elect to bring into your home.
Okay.
Good luck, kid.
Thank you very much.
I'm Bruce Williams. Stick around for more. This is Talknet.
WIBC.
Mason City, Iowa. It's your turn. Hello there.
Hi, Bruce. I've been listening to you for about 8 years now.
I'm delighted. What's on your mind, kid?
Well, I recently moved out of a house that I bought, and I moved out of state, and I ended up renting it out to some tenants.
All right.
And I would like to sell it to them.
All right.
I've offered it to them, and it may be that my best option is a contract for deed.
Well, that is not the best option under most conditions, but in a soft market, frequently you're going to have to, make accommodations. How's that for a great way to put it?
Okay.
Let's talk about the deal for a moment, shall we? How much is the house selling for?
I offered it to him for, it's a small house in a small town.
How much?
$6,700.
100?
Yeah.
Wow. You got my attention. $6,700.
Right.
How much could you rent this place for?
I'm renting it now for $180 a month.
I'll tell you something. On the basis of the income, it's worth a lot more than $6,700. Worth double that. But let's assume that $6,700. You own it free and clear?
Okay. Yes. Well, I did, and then I took out a mortgage on it.
And the answer is you do not.
Right.
How much do you owe on it?
About $3,000.
All right. Could you pay off the mortgage?
I could, with the money that they would pay me on the contract for deed.
I mean, pay it off in its entirety. Could you just write a check for $3,000?
Okay, yeah.
Could you do that?
Yeah.
Well, you'd be much better off to do that. And then, in my opinion, if you must carry the paper, you're telling me they can't get a mortgage, right?
Well, no, I'm not telling you that.
Well, then why would you want to take back the paper?
Because I am out of state. I want to
No. You're missing my question.
Okay.
I'm saying, let's assume that they want to buy it for the $6,700. You're willing to accept $6,700. Let's make that assumption, shall we?
Okay.
Let's get past that. So I want to know, can they go down to their local bank, savings and loan, building and loan, whatever? Could they borrow $6,000 and put $700 down, or whatever it works out to? Could they or not?
Well, that's what I suggested that they do.
Yeah.
But they haven't responded to me on that. In other words, I don't believe they want to do that.
Well, why not?
I don't know.
Well, you see, if they don't want to do that, why would you want to do what the bank won't do?
Because I want to get it off my hands.
I understand that. I understand.
Well, let me.
But I'm trying to. No, this is an important point. If you're desperate and they can't get the money or will not, maybe a contract's okay. But it's my contention you'd be better off in the event that you must carry paper. Now, I've heard the arguments that you can foreclose quicker in a contract, and maybe that's true. I'd feel more comfortable with a mortgage. But go ahead with a contract if you must. If you must. But I'd say to them, look, fellas, I want you to go to the bank and get a mortgage. I'll help you.
Here's my question, though. If I were to sell it to them on a contract for deed, what are my legal responsibilities for
First of all, when you, quote, sell it to them for a contract for deed, you don't sell them anything. Do you understand that?
Okay.
The house is still yours.
Right.
Do you understand that?
Yes.
Explain it to me.
They are making payments towards the closing of the house.
Yeah.
So I am acting like the bank.
Yeah.
And when the agreed amount is covered, then we close.
Right. But in the meantime, what?
In the meantime, my question is...
No, in the meantime, who owns the house?
I do.
Who's responsible if something happens to the house? Who's responsible if someone falls on the sidewalk?
Can I ask them to pay for property tax, or is that mine?
You can clearly ask anything you want, anything the two parties agree to, of course. And they would pay, and clearly that would be their responsibility, not yours.
Okay, and are they responsible for insuring it?
Absolutely. If your contract with them calls for it. These are all negotiable items, but obviously ordinarily that would be their responsibility as well. Yes.
Okay, you've answered my question.
But the problem is that you should do your very best to get them to buy it fee simple. Now, why? Because they're sitting there in your house, and also they don't make any payments. Now, you got to foreclose, right? In the meantime, they can be beating the heck out of your house. You can't even, under a contract for deed, under ordinary conditions, you don't have the right to come in and inspect or anything.
Okay.
I just would be more comfortable. I'd rather take, if you're willing to sell for 67, right? I'd rather take 6,200 and get a clean deal. Get out and go and forget it.
Well, I would, yeah, that's my preference. But
well, why don't you? Where is this property again?
It's in Minnesota.
How far is that from where you are now?
It's about a couple 100 miles.
Well, why don't you pop in your car over the weekend and go talk to them eyeball to eyeball?
Okay.
Say, look, fellas, let's do a deal. Let's get a deal done here.
All right.
You'd be much better off, you really would. If it can be done. It may not be. Then you're stuck doing the alternate financing, but try to avoid it if you can.
Are there any other options?
Well, either you finance it or an outsider finance. Well, yes, there's a third option. Let somebody else finance most of it, and you take a second mortgage back.
Okay.
Tell you the truth, I'd even be more comfortable with that than a contract. I wish you well, kid.
Thanks.
I'm Bruce Williams. Stick around. Agree or disagree. Oh, by the by, tomorrow. This we can't disagree on. Tomorrow I'll be here from noon to 5:30. Noon to 5:30, taking your calls off the air for broadcast at a future date. Oh, as I said, working with these young people is something else. I mean, every time I say something that is, even if it's to the right of the chairman, I mean, Stacy gets herself a little bit upset. But I think I keep explaining to her if there's a time for youthful enthusiasm, and there's a term I'm looking for, which I can use on the air. If there's a time for being, what is it? Naive? No, that's not the word I'm looking for, honey. I'm trying to get a little beyond that. Youth is a time for it. I guess cynicism's for people like me. We were arguing about the ideal. That's the thing. You can be ideal until you're about 23 and a half. How old are you? 24? You've lost it, kid. You should start to get real now. I commented about the sunshine law, which I think is one of the biggest travesties in the world. This business of all politics, all political meetings to be out in the open and whatever. What a lot of nonsense. A crook is a crook is a crook. And two crooks are going to find a way to steal from you. But the idea of having all these public meetings, all these backroom meetings, the work sessions public is nonsense. And it just inhibits government, and the good stuff doesn't get done the way it should get done. And I was involved in that nonsense for long enough. It was another question. Well, so many laws have great intentions. Hey, I got a great idea. Let's pass a law. No more wars. But you see, the Saddams of the world will still start one. I'm Bruce Williams. This is Talknet.
Hi.
Hey.
I have a question concerning my rights or a department store's rights with a credit card.
What's happening?
I have a credit card with a major department store, and on January 3rd, I received a bill, and on the bill, printed out, was you have available credit of $1,200. And with what I had on the bill already, it made it a $2,000 limit.
So they had a $2,000 line put aside from you.
Right.
For you. Sure.
Right. Okay. And the bill was dated January 3rd. And beginning of last week, our VCR died, and
I like these expressions. It died.
Well, it did.
Another girl called before. I think she's bummed out, and her VCR died. Colorful speech. Go ahead.
Anyway, so I went to get another one, and I went to this store to buy it, and the man started to ring it up, and it got declined, and the VCR was it came to $504. So, and I had $1,200, and I had nothing charged against it since the last thing charged on the bill.
So for what reason was it declined?
It was declined because they said they didn't like my credit.
didn't like your credit?
Yeah. Now I mean,
what does that mean?
I don't. Well,
that was the term they used. Seriously, we don't like your credit.
Yeah, they said there were some things on my credit that they wouldn't approve of, and I said, well, I can understand that. What I can't understand is them saying you have a $1,200 available balance. There was no difference in my credit from the day they said I had a $1,200 available balance, and
was your account up to date?
What's that?
Was your account with them up to date?
Oh yeah. Oh yeah, I've paid it, no problem. I've paid it every month ahead of time.
Interesting.
And more than.
What are you telling me then? They ran a credit check on you while you were getting this thing rung up, or sometime between January or whatever and now?
No, they ran the credit check on me when I rang up something more than $500.
Well, that's what I mean. They ran an instant credit check on you?
Yeah, and when the man in the department said, go call credit, this is really weird. So I went to their little courtesy phone and I called credit. The lady in credit said to me, well, the way it works is that as long as you charge things buy purchases under $500, you could have run this credit card up to $2,000. But because you tried to make a big purchase, we run a credit check and we didn't like what we saw.
Well, what did they say?
I don't know, to tell you the truth. I do have a bankruptcy, but I had a bankruptcy on there. It's now 4 years old, and I had that on there when they gave me the card originally 2.5 years ago.
And you've always kept their card up to date?
Yes, always.
I have no answer for you. Unless they've changed their credit standards.
No, they said they haven't. They said that they reserve the right that I could have come in every day and charged $100 up to $2,000, and that was no problem. But when I wanted to get something big, they run credit checks. And I said, well, okay, but why didn't you run this before you rose my limit? That's not the right word, but before
you increased my limit.
Increased my limit.
Sure.
Well, we don't do that. We just increase your limit, and then when you try and buy something, we run a credit check.
Is that right? That's a lousy system.
But are they allowed to do that?
They can deny you credit for any one of a million reasons. They cannot because of your gender, ethnicity, and that sort of jazz.
Right, but they can just sort of give it to you and then take it away.
Yes,
That's
they
okay.
should. How many times have you gotten these things in the mail? You've been approved, and then you call apply for it, and they say, "Well, guess what?
I throw
Surprise!"
those away. Okay, well, I mean, that's fine. I can live with that. I just didn't know whether they really were allowed to do that.
No, but I would be interested to hear from somebody in the retail business or the credit business that can rationalize that they have a right to do what they want to do. Let's start with that. As far as I understand it.
Right.
But I would love to hear the rationalization behind it. I'd love to get hold of the corporate executive that made that decision.
Well, I tried to do that, but they wouldn't let me through. But the interesting addendum to this is that
let me ask you this: did they say, well, how much was this VCR?
With all of the extended warranty, it was about $504.
Only $4 over?
Yeah.
Well, why did you pay $50 down and you'd be under the $500?
Well, that's what I did. Is I went back and I said to the guy in the department, "Okay, let's do this. Take off the extended warranty, and that brings it down to $460, and try it again."
Right.
And they declined it again.
Now what?
And then, then they said it was because they had run this credit check 5 minutes before once it was over 500. Then they told me the following day when I went back to talk to the store manager that they had dropped my credit back down to $200. That was the real winner. It was like, well, we ran this credit check. We really didn't like it, so we just dropped your credit back. And I just thought it was bad business practice.
I don't disagree with you.
Okay, well, that was all. I just wanted to...
Well, I guess they have the right to do so. I'd love to listen to the logic, though.
Yeah, me too.
I do wish you well.
Okay, thank you.
I mean, you can go there and charge candy bars all day long up to the